Warning, the following podcast contains spoilers, so if you don't want to know that Ash is a robot, stop listening now. Now, before we dive into the proper introduction here, we got a little bit of a surprise for everyone. So, we have our theme song ready to go. So without further ado, we're going to play that before diving in here.
The International House of Horror.
And with that, welcome everyone to the International House of Horror podcast, a low-budget podcast for low-budget horror movies. I'm your host, Rocco, aka the Mad Pancaker. As always, across from me is none other than Scary Perry.
Hello there.
What'd you think of that theme song there, Perry?
I love it. It's great.
And we'd like to give a shout out to our good friend Craig Wensick for designing their theme song for us and composing it and everything.
Tom Atkins?
No, Craig Wensick. So
He looks a lot like Tom Atkins to me, though.
He does have a rockin' stash like Tom Atkins. So special shout out and thanks to him. He's a great guy, good longtime family friend. So very appreciative of it. And
Thank you.
I hooked him up with some beer for his troubles there for assisting us. So money well spent.
Yeah.
All
Libations, always good.
Oh, I can't go wrong with some spirits. Some high spirits with, who was in that movie?
Does he live in the
Liam
Highlands?
Neeson
Oh.
and Steve Guttenberg. We might talk about that one day.
The guy from Short Circuit? I love
Yeah.
that guy. And Police Academy.
Yeah. All right. Before we dive into our hot cakes for this episode, we got a couple of corrections from last time. Not about the episode itself, but the first correction is so the game I was trying to think of that the people who did the Corey Osa did was the game Until Dawn. Okay. The Last of Us is that zombie game.
Oh.
They have such, you know what I mean? Like, they're so generic, The Last of Us, Until Dawn.
Yeah.
Like, at least the quarry makes sense because it takes place in a quarry. You kind of know what it's about. Like, Until Dawn, what the heck is that? It's like, is that a vampire movie? Are they trying to survive until dawn? Like, what, you know?
It's just a bunch of kids trying to stay
And the
awake.
same with The Last of Us. It's like, well, what is this, a post-apocalyptic movie? You know, I mean, zombies are kind of like apocalypse, but still, it's a generic title. It doesn't really informative, so it's easy how I got confused.
There's a lot of zombie in today's releases. I don't know. Different
Very true.
zombies things. Sorry.
And then the other correction is, so you might have been a little closer to how to play the game, but because I actually can't believe I spent so much time Googling and looking up how to play 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, but I had no idea what the fuck I was talking about. So apparently,
I thought you didn't.
you name a person and you're trying to get to a Kevin Bacon movie as quickly as possible. So if they star in a Kevin Bacon movie, it's like 0. So, you know, but it's like their media connection. But if they're one step away, then, you know, it's like a score of 1. And the thing is, you don't have to go farther than 6 degrees to get to Kevin Bacon.
Like, you could be 6 degrees from Kevin Bacon.
I find that hard to believe because I'm not in the entertainment industry.
But you might know somebody who knows somebody, and then bam.
Well, we reviewed Friday the 13th, which has Kevin Bacon in it. My Kevin Bacon score is 1, right? Because this podcast is a publication, and we talked about Friday the 13th, starring Kevin Bacon.
I don't think that's
not how it works. No.
No.
I don't think I have any relatives or friends that are in Hollywood.
I mean, if you feel better about yourself at night, take the point.
Take the point. My score is the same as Amy Steele's.
All right.
So, without further ado, then we'll dive into our hotcakes. I'll kick it off first. So, movie that I watched very recently, for the first time ever, been something I've been wanting to watch for a long time, and it finally showed up on. I saw it on Tubi, and I added it, and I'm like, oh man, I gotta watch this. David Cronenberg's Videodrome.
Ooh.
Starring James Woods and some other people. I forget the other people. I don't go into detail in
James
my
Woods
hotcakes.
and some other people.
I don't go into detail in my hotcakes notes. I just put down the movie and then I talk about it. Obviously, another body horror classic. It's a phenomenal film. It's another one of those films that makes you think, which I kind of enjoy. Those movies that are kind of have this surreal property to it. Like, you're not exactly sure what's reality and what's a hallucination or in the character's imagination, kind of very interesting in that regards.
I'm not going to deep dive into this, but one of the first names points right out to me. Deborah Harry, lead singer of Blondie. Hello.
Oh, yeah, she is in that.
Sorry.
Like I said, though, it was a phenomenal film. For the quick grade there, the quick cake, it was very impressed me. It's another movie that I'd have to want to watch again. And I know, I guess Arrow Video announced, I think they got one of their special 4K releases, which we'll be talking about one of those coming up here soon in a little bit, I think. I think they're doing I think they're doing a Steelbook. I think I saw that. Either a Steelbook or a 4K. I don't think it's available for pre-order yet, but I saw they announced it. I definitely think I'm going to be picking that up. I want to say it's tough because I want to watch it again, and it was very, very good. It's definitely at least a 4.5. It could get the full 5 with syrup, But very impressed with it. Probably one of David Cronenberg's top 2 films, with that and The Fly. That's kind of the big 2 that people throw around when they talk about the best Cronenberg film. Not that he's done a lot of good stuff. So that's my first hotcake. Perry, I'll toss it over to you there, Scary Perry, with some hotcakes there.
So I saw the movie that's getting, at our time, it's been getting a lot of hype recently, is The Black Phone with Ethan Hawke.
That's Stephen King's son, Joe Hill, right? Is that what he goes by?
That's Scott Dickerson. Is that his son? I don't know.
No, his son wrote it.
Oh, well,
I think
it's loosely based on something. I don't know. Let me think. Hold on. Give me 1 sec. We're just doing the check here. It says, by Joe Hill.
Yeah, that's Stephen King's
son.
son.
That's his son, for sure. Okay.
That Tom Atkins had to give a little bit of a bitch slap to in Creep Show. Unless he has more than one son.
It's great. I call it a coming-of-age supernatural horror film. All right, I don't want to spoil it, but there's supernatural stuff in the movie. And
there's a spoiler warning at the beginning of this podcast, so
yeah.
I know we try not to spoil stuff.
No, I don't want to give it, but so it's basically about Ethan Hawke. He's the bad guy. He's the guy that kidnaps children and then eventually kills them in the 70s. I think it's set in. And then there's a supernatural presence that leads to the main protagonist kid, where he hears the voices of other and sees stuff of the other deceased children.
And he talks to him on the phone.
Yeah, on the black phone. But it didn't seem, I don't know, it wasn't, it was more thriller. I know it's thriller. It's hard to differentiate. It's more thriller to me instead of horror. Obviously that would be a horrible situation.
I know the guy's mask is kind of creepy.
Yeah, it is.
So that gives him a scary element to it.
He does a good job of how he acts, and it's good. I
think Tom Savini designed
Ethan Hawke,
the mask.
excuse me.
Yeah, Ethan
Hawke.
Yeah.
Oh, Savini did it? Yeah,
he designed the mask.
It's kind of Purge-esque, but different.
And obviously not a big fan of modern horror, but it kind of interests me a little bit.
It just doesn't have that.
I'm not the biggest Stephen King movie fan.
Yeah.
Not that I don't like a lot of his movies. There are stuff that's based on his works. It's just that some of are hit and miss for me, I
love Stephen King, but it didn't seem to me. It doesn't seem like his son.
I know his son. I don't know how similar their writing styles are, their stories are, but what am I trying to think here? There's some Stephen King stuff I love and some that I just don't really care for. I love Creepshow, obviously. I know that's he wrote all the stories for that. I know he hates the film, but I love Maximum Overdrive. It's one of my favorite Stephen King adaptations.
Well, I'm a big It guy, and I love him, but all of them.
Yeah.
I like other movies. Christine, I love Christine.
Christine's very good.
I think
the
Pet Sematary aren't bad.
Those are the ones where it's they're just okay.
They wanted to change
The Shining, I think, is a very good, well-made film, but I think
which he doesn't like.
Yes, yeah. I know he doesn't like that version. I've never seen the miniseries version. It's been forever since I've seen not the Langoliers, but that's another one. The Tommy Knockers. I remember that one fondly from a child, just because of the
Dead Zone's a good movie, even though that might not be so horror.
Yeah, it kind of gets lumped in.
Focused.
People talk about it. I think Carrie's way overrated.
Yeah.
It's a very slow drag till you get to the 15 minutes that you want to see.
I haven't seen Doctor Sleep, so I don't know what's going on there. But
I haven't seen that one either. So
it's long, and I just don't feel like right now.
I do like The Shining. I think it's a little bit overrated. Not that doesn't have great acting and phenomenal visuals, but I just think The Shining doesn't matter in that movie at all.
But I think it's a good movie. It's just this is going to come up with the movie we're doing today. To me, like, I don't know if it's a horror movie.
Well, the movie we're talking about today is more of a horror comedy.
Yeah. Well, there's
and
just,
not like a straight up spoof, but it is an homage to stuff. We'll get into that when we talk about it.
I mean, I get this has this supernatural thing, but anyways, so like I could compare this movie, and it has a lot of the same ideas, or not ideas, but like the same thing where somebody gets kidnapped or whatever as children, or whatever. Like Prisoners with, I believe it's Hugh Jackman and Terrence Howard and Jake Gyllenhaal as the policeman, and also The Lovely Bones with Mark Wahlberg. To me, it's this guy, but I'm not, which that's kind of different too. It's like on that level to me. It's like another one of those movies.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I didn't hate it. It's interesting.
But you didn't love it.
I didn't love it. I mean, it's hard. It can maybe hit a 3, but I want to say it's like 2.75 cannolis.
Oh, we're going into the point. We're
Yeah,
going
I
into
mean,
the
there's
extra
good stuff
quarter
in
of
it, but
thing.
I don't know. Like, I didn't see the big, the big
I
deal of
gotcha.
it as
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
as a horror movie or any movie. I mean, in particular, but it's hard with movies that come out these days now because not a lot of movies come out in theaters because of COVID, and a lot of them come straight to the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, maybe I don't know if that changes the way something's filmed, or nowadays a lot of stuff is
It definitely,
remakes.
like, I don't know how much restrictions there are anymore with stuff, depending on where you're filming. But I know, like, when that stuff was being filmed during the pandemic, they had to, they had like fewer people. Like, kind of when I talked about Resident Evil Return or Welcome to Raccoon City, how like there seemed like there wasn't a whole lot of zombies in it. It was like a ghost town, like an abandoned town type deal, like rundown old factory type town with not a whole lot of people living in it. And I think that was because of the COVID restrictions.
Oh, so you can see here, I'm just checking. Lovely Bones, they call it a supernatural thriller drama film. So they're kind of along the same lines.
I gotcha.
Except she dies in it, and then she has some supernatural.
Whoa, spoiler. No, I'm
Yeah,
just kidding.
it's quite old. Peter Jackson directed it. He should stick with Lord of the Rings. No, I'm just playing.
I think he should go back to his bad taste in Dead Alive days.
But yeah, that's what I give it for that. So that's one of my hotcakes. I'll throw it back to you for some more.
Sure. So next up, I watched on good old Tubi again, H.P. Lovecraft's The Unnameable, which was an interesting low-budget adaptation, not associated with like Stuart Gordon or any of those guys that were like doing Reanimator and From Beyond and all those other 80s Lovecraft adaptations. It was interesting. I kind of liked it. It starts off good at the beginning, even though there's this cemetery at the beginning, and it's clearly the cheapest looking fake tombstones you could ever possibly imagine. The tombstone decorations I have lying around probably look better than those, and those are all like covered with glitter and shit. So, but yeah, they're just that stock cardboard like tombstone type thing. But that's part of the charm of some of those cheesy, old school, low budget movies. But it kind of drags in the middle to get there. It's what story was it based on? I'm trying to remember. I think it might have been based on, we might have talked about this last time, the case of Charles Dexter Ward. I feel like we mentioned that one last episode, but I might be just confusing my Lovecraft adaptations now. But it's based on, it might be based on the story of the same name, but essentially there's this child of some guy that's locked in this like old rundown mansion, locked in the attic. So this guy's like into some occult shit. His child is like a freak of nature monster type thing. These college kids decide to go there for like a hazing, not like a hazing, but they get dared into doing it type deal. I think it's like a sorority initiation or fraternity initiation. I forget who invites who, and then the bunch of girls, go with them, these guys, and they let the monster out. And then of course they gotta, they're trying to avoid the monster and stop it. Not bad. It's got some fun actors in there. There's some cheesy acting, of course, too, but there's definitely some okay performances in it. If I had to give it a grade, it's probably right in that 2.5 range. Like, it's kind of a fun watch, not something you should watch all the time. Not quite a 3, I think, but it was enjoyable. I didn't hate it. Like I said, it really dragged in the middle where it's like, okay, the first group of people go to the house and now they go away and try to find it. And then questioning what they saw, and then it's like establishing some of the characters, which is just really slow. And then you have the one group of frat guys go take these girls with them to the house and to map it as part of their initiation for this fraternity or whatever. And then it finally starts picking up once the monster gets let loose again. And the effects are decent for like the gore effects and stuff, and the monster effects pretty decent. Plus, it's got Randolph Carter in it, the H.P. Lovecraft character. I don't know if he's in the other story that this is based on, but It's kind of interesting. All right, I'll throw it back to you over there, Perry. You got any more hotcakes for me?
Yeah, I do. I picked up recently Synapse Films. I guess I don't know what to call it. Ultra Deluxe edition of Dario Argento's Tenebrae.
Very nice.
And it has...
now, is that the joint production they did with like Arrow Video? Because
they show on the back, it says Intra Movies, INTRA.
Yeah, I forget, because I mean, it looks like the style that
if...
Arrow Video does. Because I remember reading they like teamed up. Because I know my version, just the regular Blu-ray, is a Synapse Blu-ray, but I think they teamed up for the special edition.
I don't see the Arrow symbol.
Because yeah, they might not have put it on there because.
And I'm not reading it in the small print, but it could be. But it's cool. It comes with 2 4K discs, the original version, and then the Unsane version, the limited edition exclusive. Scary Perry doesn't have a 4K player, which he's trying.
Well, do you still have an Xbox One?
Yeah.
Which version of the Xbox One do you have?
I don't know. And it's original. No.
So it's not the Xbox One S, like, the later one that they came out with?
No, I have the download-only one.
For the original
Series,
Xbox? Or for the Xbox One? I'm talking about the Xbox One, not the Xbox Series.
No, it's the original. It's the first.
Okay, so yeah, it might not be 4K because I know Xbox One
PS4
S
doesn't
is.
have it. Yeah, no.
But the Series S, if it doesn't have a drive, and then the Xbox Series X would be 4K compatible if you could find one.
It's okay because it does have the full version and Blu-ray on disc 3, which I can play.
Yeah, they do that a lot.
It's not gonna have. I don't have a 4K TV anyway, so I don't know how much difference.
Yeah, I don't have a 4K TV either, so my 4K stuff. I mean, I could play it, but it's not extra fancy.
Yeah, and then they have this Unsane version, limited edition on.
Yep, that's for
4K.
those that don't know, that's the U.S. theatrical release version.
Yeah, 90 minutes.
The title that was called in the U.S.
There's a song in it, "Take Me Tonight" by Kim Wilde.
Oh, did you read that? Is that on the box?
Yeah,
does it say that? Oh, yeah, that song's so great.
And then it comes with a poster. I wish we'll get video someday, but looks like a poster of it in Italian, and then. I don't know what language this is.
On the backside, it's it looks like the Japanese poster.
It looks
like the Japanese poster. Sorry, I wasn't speaking directly into the mic.
Calligraphy or what? But yeah,
I think it's the Japanese.
And then
one.
it's cool. It's cool. And it also comes with these little postcards of certain kills in the movie, which the back has the Italian cover of the movie, and then it has all these different kills.
Yeah, the cards. Yeah, like that's how
the
a lot
cards.
of
yeah.
And
then it comes with
the lobby cards. I think
a booklet about the movie, which is cool. It's called An Appreciation of Tenebrae. I'll have to read this. I haven't read it yet, but it has cool photos from the movies in it, and I'm sure there's some good stuff in here. And I wasn't a big Giallo guy, but that was that Giallo itch I'm talking about, and I can't wait to watch this again. Full light speed ahead, not
according to the back.
No tilting.
Oh, sorry. According to the back of the box here, it's the Japanese poster.
The Japanese
on the
poster.
other side.
Okay.
Yeah, the Japanese poster.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know it's usually,
but it's really nice.
There somewhere.
It wasn't. I don't think it was horribly expensive.
I think
I got it off of Amazon.com.
I know it doesn't have the Arrow Video thing on there, but I think when I first heard that announced, it's like a co-release. So like Arrow Video because Arrow Video is like a UK based company, but they do release US based DVDs for the US market, not restricted by region or region A specifically. But I think that was the rights when they partnered up to do this, is that they got to release it in UK international markets, and Synapse, because they still had the rights from their old Blu-ray, got to release it in the US market because it's got a similar setup to how all the extra goodies Arrow Video does for theirs.
Synapse has a little catalog.
Oh, the Synapse film catalog,
2002 catalog.
Oh, you got the 2022 one.
Yeah,
I have the old 2021 or 2020.
Well, you can have this if you want to look at it. So it's kind of cool. It has all these kind of different horror movies, and then it goes into their pornos.
Yeah, their erotic catalog. What's their erotic catalog called again?
Okay,
it's something
there's a couple.
Synapse is the
couple
cult line.
So this is the Schoolgirl Report collection.
No. It should be.
Well, it says that.
Well, I'm talking about like the
there's another one.
Brand. Because it's got, if you look at the front, I think it has.
Oh, it says Impulse Pictures.
Impulse Pictures.
42nd Street Forever, the Peep Show.
Yeah.
And there's a different one here.
Well, no, Impulse is their
Nakatsu erotic film.
Yeah, that's just like the type. And
I guess
and like the original production.
And some of these are a bit
like the series.
They show some different skin on some of these. But yeah, and it's funny on the back they have this Steelbook limited editions, and they show it's sold out, which is okay. Well, why would you
just
put?
to let you know.
Why would you
Hold on,
put
let me
that?
see
You know,
what's,
like I want to order. Whatever.
Oh man, I wanted that Steelbook of Suspiria.
Yeah, that's what I was going
pretty
to say,
sweet.
and it says sold out. Way to get my hopes
Popcorn's
up.
another one I wanted to see. Oh, I can't get that Steelbook of Tenebrae anymore.
Yeah, I don't usually buy too many DVDs and stuff anymore, but I don't know. I couldn't pass on this. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, Impulse Films is the thing I was thinking of. That's like their kind of cult porno collection, and then Synapse is like I said, the cult regular film collection. I think it's always interesting to flip through these catalogs. They're kind of neat.
yeah, I mean,
Although it's weird because
stuff
they
in
do
there.
release some stuff under the Synapse Films that's like probably more pornographic, like this 42nd Street stuff. Like I don't know like what their classification is for when they release things under the Impulse versus the Synapse. It's very confusing.
I think this is really neat, and one day I'll get a 4K. Maybe I get a PS5 one day if they're.
Yeah, I think that probably plays 4Ks as well.
Yeah. That is going to be all my hotcakes.
All
for
right,
this
so
episode.
I'll try and rattle through the rest of mine real quick here. Next up, I watched a Mexican horror film, I believe, technically, called Cemetery of Terror, which is like one part... what's the first... Oh, somebody on YouTube I watched had a good explanation of like the synopsis of this. It was like Something Meets the Beyond. Lucio Fulci's The Beyond. I forget what the first thing was. Oh, I think it was... I think he said it was like Halloween Meets the Beyond, because it's like a slasher film at first, and then it turns into like this weird like supernatural. It's got a little bit of kind of like an Evil Dead thing to it. So, but it starts off a little bit slow, but then it really ramps up by the end of it. So it was a fun little thing. The only downside is there's no, which isn't bad per se, because some people prefer to watch foreign films in the original audio anyways. There's no English dub to it. It's subtitles or nothing, you know, or unless your Spanish is good. But it was a fun little film. Probably got some impressive gore scenes in there, so I'd probably say right around a 3. Like I said, it literally drags a little bit in the beginning, but it's kind of fun towards the end. Nothing that's gonna, you know, change your world or, you know, be like great, but it's a fun, you know, throw it on to see some ridiculous violence. I don't remember if there's any nudity. I don't think there is, but it was a fun time. So next up, I don't know if I want to save that. I think I'll save that one for last because I got a bit of a rant to do about that one. So we'll go into this other stuff. So I did not put this on the list, but I forgot that I had it. So I'll talk about this real quick. Got this in maybe a couple weeks ago. In Search of Tomorrow, which is from the same people who do the In Search of Darkness documentary. So it's the definitive 80s sci-fi documentary. Now I know it's like, oh, well, sci-fi, you know, not really horror. But I mean, it's got The Predator, which is a little kind of horror-based. But it also talks about aliens in it, so that's another thing that's kind of a little more like an action horror sci-fi, so it kind of blends genres, so that's why I figured I'd throw it in here and talk about it. So if you like that type of stuff, you can check that out. It'll probably end up streaming somewhere, because I do remember I'd seen it streaming, but if you want to pick it up, you'll probably have to try and do that soon, because I don't know how often they sell it. I haven't watched it yet, but I've watched In Search of Darkness 1 and 2, which are always really good. They are very entertaining. So next up for pickups, I picked up the collector's edition from Scream Factory, Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. Ooh. So in glorious 4K Ultra HD and Blu-ray.
You could give me all the Blu-rays. I'll take them. What? Keep going.
Sure. Come time. I mean, there's a reasoning behind picking this up if you had it figured out, you know, when October comes along. And it's one of the only ones I don't own, so I figured, well, I'll bite the bullet and pick it up now, so that way I don't have to try and track it down on some streaming service or bootleg, heaven forbid. Next up, so I picked this up at the good old Wally World from the Vestron Video Collector Series. Dementia 13. It's the director's cut, too. So the first film by Francis Ford Coppola, of course, which, you know, has a connection to the previous episode. Go listen to our April Fool's Day episode, and there's a Francis Ford Coppola reference in there. A sad one, unfortunately. So who's in this? Don't remember if there's anybody. Yeah, it's not really saying anything. Let me see if on the slipcover. Let me see. Starring William Campbell, Lana Anders. She sounds familiar. Patrick McGee, I know I've heard him before. Mary Mitchell, Bart Patton. So, produced by Roger Corman. Go figure. I think I have this on DVD. I might even have it. I can't remember if I have it on video from when I was a kid, but I think I have maybe seen bits and pieces of this before. You know, it's kind of a bit of a old school classic from, when was this originally made? 1963. It's only 69 minutes, so looking forward to checking that out again from my youth. So next up, Arrow Video release. So I picked up their recent Blu-ray release of Hell High.
Ooh.
It's this 1980s slasher. What am I thinking here?
Looks really cool.
Yeah, it's like a slasher mixed with like a bit of a revenge film.
Doesn't look like a high school though. On the cover.
Well, yeah, it takes place at the lady's house. The premise is that she's the teacher, and then asshole students go and, try to scare the shit out of her and pick on her. And, I think they get kind of Harvey Weinstein-y, if I remember correctly, or at least try to. And then she kind of goes crazy. I think it's kind of like, I swear we talked about something where, kind of a bit like Terror Train, where they didn't know that the person killed somebody a long time ago, but like maybe she had some trauma a long time ago and that like snapped and put her back into like the thing. Less of a mystery though around who's the killer. I guess a guy from Breaking Bad's in here, Christopher Cousins, Christopher Stryker. Who else is in this? Doesn't really say who else is in this. I remember liking it when I watched it. I think this one was one of those weird ones I found, in the depths of YouTube. It just randomly popped up. I'm like, what is this? And not like YouTube official videos, but YouTube, the underground seedier part of YouTube bootlegging when I first watched it. But I mean, hey, I've got me to buy the official release. I remember it being okay. It's one I'd have to watch it again to give it a proper grade, but it's probably sits right around maybe the 3.5 range. That's my guess.
Cool. Looks awesome.
I'd have to watch it again. I mean, the artwork looks cool for the thing here. So next up, do the final pickup here, and then we can got a little bit of news for you guys, and then dive into the episode proper. So picked up, and I'm a big fan of this board game series for a long time.
Me too.
We have Betrayal at House on the Hill, the 3rd edition. And one of the things they did with this one is they kind of streamlined it to make the rules a little bit simpler, a little easier, eliminate some of the confusion, which I don't mind that. And they kind of incorporate a lot of the stuff from the Scooby-Doo version, it seems.
I own the Scooby-Doo version.
Yep, and I
almost bought this version, and then good thing I didn't, because
I planned on buying it.
It was working, and he can't text at work, or had a time to text me, and he texted me later. He's like, "Don't buy it. I have it reserved because we have a game."
And then I forgot. You know what's funny about that story though? I forgot I didn't have it reserved yet, so I'm like, "Oh shit, I better pre-order this before I forget." And then it like shipped the next day though, so like I must have pre-ordered it at just the right
it's
time.
like just coming out, yeah.
So it's interesting because instead of normally, if you're not familiar with the game, but there's haunts. So the haunts are like the story that happens as you explore the house, and somebody's going to become the traitor. So at the start of the game, in the first 2 editions, it was just random. You could get any of the 50 haunts in the story. And this one, you pick a scenario card. Like this one says Paranormal Investigators. And that's like the theme of why you're all at the house. Or another one is A Strange Disappearance. And then on the back side, it has, it looks like 9, maybe 10 haunts you can choose from that will come up. So the nice thing about that is it helps avoid repeat haunts, because that was another thing a lot of times when you're playing house. If you don't want to get the same haunt, you just keep going until you get to the next omen card, and then you could eventually run out and not get the right room. So it kind of makes setting up some of the haunts, if you're trying to play ones that you haven't played before, when you do get to them, if you go by the alternate rules to pick a different one, it makes it tricky, and like the setup may not be the best. So that kind of helps avoid it. So it's like, okay, we've done all the Paranormal Investigator ones, so let's go on to a different card, or that type of deal. They got rid of some of the rooms, and they added some rooms. One of our fan favorites, the patio, is gone. That's the patio. That's one of our nicknames for it. I can't say the nickname of the one room.
Yeah.
It's still in here.
I thought you were going to talk about it.
We can't say that one anymore. We'll call it the Harvey Weinstein. No. It's not the Harvey. It's the Jeffrey Epstein corridor. We'll call it that. Is that an appropriate name for that hallway?
Sure. So
we won't use our nickname for it because it's not very appropriate. But we have a dark sense of humor, so we kind of joke around with stuff like that. To talk about some of the. So there's some improvements there. It seems like I don't want to say dumbed down. I know they simplified it. They kind of dumbed down some of the stat increasing and decreasing. They kind of dumbed down the exploration a little bit. So they made it so if you explore a room, that's it. That's you explore one room and you're done. But they also did away with like a lot of the empty hallways, I guess. You know what I mean? Like the creaky hallway was one that nothing happened in. You just went in and it's like, oh, okay, there's nothing in here. I can explore again. Every room does at least something. Although it's weird because so the coal chute got replaced with the laundry chute, which makes more sense. But the wording's very weird because you don't fall to the basement when you go there. You fall to the basement if you end your turn there. I'm like,
give me. I want
sure.
to see.
No. Well, I'll let you see in a second because I'm going to show you something. I'm going to ask because I think we talked about this a little bit beforehand, but and we'll try to wrap this up here because Hotcake's going a little bit long, but that's okay. So with the sliders, oh my god, I don't know how they keep screwing up these dumb clip-on sliders for the stats.
I thought they're supposed to be better.
These things suck.
They're worse than the original.
They're worse than the original, which is saying something. Like, I don't know why they can't just do like the premium edition set of character cards they came out with which had the nice little spin down dials built into them. Why can't they do that? It's just, I know they're trying to save components and that's like a premium thing that you had to buy extra for the second edition, but these just suck. And it's even worse because you have to like punch out part of the tile now as you're looking at it here.
That art on that, I'm sorry, the older stuff.
The art on the
I'm just looking at the guy's face.
Oh, this new artwork sucks.
Yeah, it's just...
I mean, it's okay, but the other artwork was like, it wasn't computer drawn. I mean, it could have been computer drawn, but it was like, it wasn't CG printed onto the card like an actual CGI like looking computer image. Whereas,
I mean, it looks like it has high
the
quality.
Old ones looked like they were like drawn. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and had like this,
like a sketch,
to it, which kind of was cool.
Yeah.
These are all colorful, like actual photorealistic humans.
It looks like they just like
somebody
told me, hey, like let's put out this game. Oh, and they kind of like half-assed
take a look at
it.
So I don't know if it's obvious with that guy, but take a look at both sides of that character. So you can even read the character aloud. I'm also pissed because they got rid of. So they gave all the characters new names.
I mean, this is so weird.
So they got rid of my fan favorite, Father Reinhardt.
This sucks. This sucks. The slider. This is just as bad as the other one.
Yeah, I think they're the same style they use in the Scooby-Doo
They're like,
one,
this
too.
is supposed to be better. I haven't even...
Right.
We played that once.
I've been thinking about doing an unboxing video for this, like just record it with my phone and throw it on YouTube and just like shit on all the shitty aspects of it. Like even worse than this.
No, it has this guy's blood type.
Yeah, it's got like the stupidest like little like extra bits of information at the bottom.
It has hobbies, but
first
look
off,
at this guy, Father Warren Leung, boxes of comics in his basement, 13.
Yeah, because his hobbies are comic books.
Oh, yeah, I guess. Oh, yeah.
Which, I mean, all right.
Oh,
not that in the modern age.
You have a hobby of comic books and you only have 13. Okay.
Exactly. The other thing is, so he's a priest, but he reads comic books. Comic books can be kind of raunchy at times.
I wonder if these are like people like that are like that work in their office.
It seems
of
like
Avalon Hill Games.
It probably, and it also seems like it was made by hipsters. Like, okay, so like they ruined Ox Bellows. I'm sorry here. His name is now Joseph Broseph Hooper. Nobody
use the word
Broseph is his nickname.
Oh my god.
Because it rhymes with Joseph. Nobody in their goddamn mind, except for a hipster, would think that is anywhere cool. That is the dumbest, like, that's the kind of fucking guy I would make fun of. It's like, oh, hey, Broseph over here if he used that nickname.
Hey,
we got Joseph Broseph Stalin over here killing fucking people and sending them to the gulags. But, oh my god.
Oh, in other news, I don't have it yet. Maybe I should do an unboxing and post it on Scary Perry's site. I might. I'm getting Squid Game, the board game. I might do an unboxing of that.
Well, that would be kind of cool. So this one definitely has a Stranger Things vibe, and I get it. That's the new raid, so they're going to make it stranger. Because like not that there wasn't a lot of young kids in this, but like they kind of look like characters that did Stranger Things.
They still have yet to make a proper Stranger Things game. That's really good. Remember that Ego one I had?
That one was
garbage.
I don't think I played that one with you guys. I think I was on the sidelines playing another game with some other people. Okay, so we talked about the artwork, but did you notice if you look at both sides of the artwork, take a good look at both sides of the artwork.
Was this the one I always liked to be?
That is your favorite.
I'm not gonna say what I say.
Please don't. I don't want Scary Perry to get canceled.
She looks kind of younger. I don't know. What am I looking for?
Look at the picture. Just look at the picture of the character. It's the same face. They got so lazy with the artwork. Each side of the character card, all they did was change around some facial features and facial hair and their actual hair. And like look at Father Reinhardt. I mean,
this is hilarious.
He's bald, no beard, same guy, just different glasses, same exact facial bone structure. Just he threw a beard on and then threw on like this old man grandpa hat. And does this guy look 60 to you?
No.
I mean, he could be dyeing his beard, but this guy does not look 60.
This is... Oh my God!
This is the doctor character.
This is
I think
so
it was
weird.
Professor Longfellow in the old versions.
We like the games, but this is weird. Okay, so this is Anita Hernandez, age 12. Her hobbies are taxidermy and painting. And then it says, fun fact on her card, animal friends 17. You kill animals and stuff them. Are they the dead animals?
Yeah, they must be the dead animals.
Okay.
Well, that's like with the new Oxbellows, Broseph here. His hobbies are still football, of course.
Oh, God, this is so hipster. Hobbies, depressing music, blogging.
Well, okay.
Pro collections owned 8. What? Yeah.
Here's the okay, and my comment with that is,
and that's my character I like to play.
I mean, I own an older Poe collection from when I was a kid and everything. That had some.
Talking about Edgar Allan Poe, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But you can get the entire works of like Edgar Allan Poe in either 1 or 2 volumes. You do not need to own 8 collections of Poe stories. I literally have 2 volumes that have volume 1, volume 2, nice little hardbound book. It's got the fancy like simulated torn pages, so like an old style bound book. 2 volumes. And like I said, I have an old volume from when I was a kid. But like Joseph Broseph here, his hobbies are still football, of course, and poetry. Like before it was like shiny objects and that like tied into the spaceship one.
Yeah.
And not that a football player can't be sophisticated and like poetry, but your average football player, who the hell is putting down poetry? Like, I don't know, put down like fucking sports cars or something. Like, something that makes sense. Like, God, fucking hipster.
He's a poet and you know.
So, and of course they got some new different
Can I see some other ones? I'm sorry, we're kind of going off on a tangent.
Yeah, we're going off a bit tangent. Maybe this will be the episode, just us shitting on the new Betrayal.
Let me see some of these. I got.
All right, well, so here are the characters. So, oh my God, they gave this guy like long douchebag hipster hippie hair. Okay, so the characters aren't paying anymore, which, okay, way to get lazy, Avalon Hill. And if you knew, like, and it's like, oh, but that costs more money. If you knew the amount of money they make, like the profit margin on these games.
Doesn't Wizards of the Coast own Avalon Hill?
Hasbro, yeah, owns Wizards of the Coast, but yeah, in Avalon Hill, same difference. So they put the colored bands around the bottom of the character, which correspond to the colors of the character. Like Oxbow's is red, Father Reinhardt's white. So all the characters still have their proper color band underneath, but you can take off the color band. So I'm like, what is the purpose of that? Like, is that so, like, okay, I'm playing as Broseph here, the new Oxbellows, but I want to use the figure of Madame Zostra here, and, like, so I'm going to use the figure, but I'm going to throw the red on the bottom instead of the blue. Like, what is the purpose of that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, how about you just paint the figures and, like, Oxbellows just has a red shirt. I'm sorry, if you want to play as the Oxbellows Punch Everything character,
I don't know. I want to play as
just use the freaking figure. If you don't want to
use
that figure, play a different character.
I'm sure you can use the old characters in this. What the heck?
Oh, I plan. Yeah. They're the same.
But
stats.
I want to be this
from. I haven't
Brittany B-Box Bowens.
Oh my God.
Bowen.
So I haven't
into
looked
dancing and gardening.
I haven't looked.
Her current favorite genre is Dungeon Sim. There you go.
Yeah, what the hell is that? I haven't looked too deeply into the character stats, but I looked at Oxbellows and his stats look the same from the previous versions, so I think they use the exact same
I know what
stats,
some of you guys are going to say is, oh, well, then why buy it, or why didn't you look at it? Because we're very big fans of the
Yeah, I just kind of assumed going into it.
But I'm sure
I trusted the process.
We're switching out to our old characters,
for 100%. I'm never calling that guy, like,
Beatbox or
Minister
or not
Ling
Beatbox,
or whatever.
Yeah.
And I get it. They included a little bit more ethnicities in this one.
Yeah, I get it. They're trying to put some PC in it, but
they kind of added, some more, like, I think
but I think the doctor
and the father are Asian
in the first one.
Yeah, they had some ethnic diversity in the first one. I don't know if they had a proper black character, but
I think it was the one I liked, but it was hard to tell.
It is hard to tell
because of the artwork.
Yeah, because the artwork's not in color. And it's hard to look at the figures because, like, even if they're like a bit of brownish, it doesn't always show up very well in the paint they used for the colors. So, all right, so now we're going to come to my last little gripe about this. Like I said, it looks interesting, and it's also another cool feature, so I'll talk about a cool, interesting feature with this. So, and this was something that was in the Legacy version, not to spoil the Legacy version, but there's one event card that could get added to your game as you play the Legacy version, which I highly recommend. It's probably the best version of House on the Hill.
Oh yeah, it's one of my favorite board games of all time.
Probably one of the best Legacy games out there too.
Yeah,
but one thing with it, there was which unfortunately we didn't unlock it in our playthrough with my version of the board game. I might just jam it in there because why not? I want an extra scenario. There's an event card that can start the haunt, and what you will play as the haunt 0, which is like the example haunt in the very front of the book to like, give you a breakdown and show you how the haunt book works.
Yeah.
Which was kind of neat. So in this one, there's like 5 event cards in it that start haunts. I didn't go too crazy spoiler into looking at all the event cards, but I looked at the front of the survival book to see, because there's like an example, not like an example, but like if we open up the Trader's Tome here, the very first haunt. So it got the components. So it shows you boom, 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 it gives you the example, the introduction, the setup, how to use that, and how to use the book. So, but if you look at
this one,
if you look at the scenario card, it says none. That's because it's revealed. There's 5 or 6 event cards that if the event card comes up.
Like the Trader's Tomb is public to the not traders, obviously.
Yeah, there's some stuff that's very public, and the first time you do anything, you have to do it. You have to say it. So it's a little more open and in the air, but there's still some secretive stuff. But yeah, the addition of more event cards that can trigger the haunt. You still have to have a couple omen cards out. That's the other thing. They fixed it so a haunt can't really start on the first one anymore or the second one. You got to be like at least 3 deep.
That makes sense.
Which gives you a little more time to explore.
I like that. It's not horrible.
I mean, I didn't mind the randomness of house. It's kind of, if you're playing a game of house, you know what you're getting into. That's part of the fun of it, is you embrace the randomness that is house. I know that that's off-putting to some people, but if you played the game and you like it, it's just one of the things that could happen with it. Oh, well, the game ends quicker and you can play another game, right?
Yeah.
All right, last final gripe, and then we can move away from hotcakes. I'm looking at this new tile, and it's a bedroom, and it's called the primary bedroom. I'm just like, I'm trying to think, I'm like, what is a primary bedroom? I've never heard that term before. I'm like, shouldn't it be the master? And then, like, my brain stopped. I'm like, oh, really? Really? We can't call it a master bedroom anymore? It's just like, I don't know if the term master bedroom had ties to like slave plantations back in the day, and that was like, oh, that's the master's bedroom, and then the terminology just carried on to modern times. I feel like even if that is the origin of the word, I feel like we're so far removed from that time that
they're saying it's something
to
racist and offers a sexist implication.
Sexist? Oh, Jesus Christ.
I don't know what I Googled real fast.
It's just like, it's still a master bedroom.
I know.
Like, oh my God, if you're that hung up over a word, it's like, oh, anytime we use the word master, it automatically implies you own something, you're slavery. Kind of like when there's an uproar over, like when you can't call the owner of an NFL team an owner anymore, because that implies that they own the players and they're slaves. I'm like,
hey,
so am I the owner of my house?
Guess what an old song right now is at the top of the charts because of Stranger Things. Master of Puppets.
Right. So, and I don't have anything against that stuff, not like some... No, I'm not like a Nazi or a Confederate.
No.
We're not saying... It's just like, I think it's so dumb.
I think it's too far.
Exactly. It's political correctness gone
like,
too far.
I'm not going to go... If somebody is uncomfortable with it, like in my presence, and they want me to say something, I'm not going to be...
I'm not going to have like... I'm like, okay...
Nice pea bedroom we got going on there.
Right, yeah. I'm not going to be like, push the issue, but I'm just like, oh my God, are we just all get offended at everything? I mean, do I get offended at like every Italian stereotype there is?
Oh my. Well, I mean, it's just times change, dude. That's what it is.
I know, it's crazy times we live in.
You just got to be careful.
I'm just
nowadays you have to be careful.
And and like I said, we're not, we're not neo-Nazis or anything, but it's just like, oh my God, I'm like, come on, people. There's stuff to make your argument over, and then there's just being stupid, and that's just one of them. So that's my other big gripe with the game.
I mean, I'm just like, you can easily look past it.
Here's the other thing, though. If you didn't want to use master bedroom, the other bedroom in the game is called the winter bedroom. So, okay, why not just do bedrooms based on the seasons then? You have a winter bedroom, call the other one the summer bedroom, and you can have a spring bedroom or a fall bedroom, based on the theme of the room. Why wouldn't they just call it
the main bedroom?
I think that's still, it's just like, why call it the main? My logic would bring me to the same point and just be like, oh, that's dumb. But
I get
it's a minor gripe, but it's just like, come on, people. Anyways, so that was my little master bedroom rant there. So, I mean, what's next? Are we gonna have to get rid of the BDSM category on Pornhub?
All right,
we can't call it BDSM anymore.
Well, we know what kind of porn you like.
C. Do you remember that? April Fool's Day. I think C was BDSM.
Oh yeah.
No, that's not the kink
What
shame.
does that stand
but
for?
that's
Bondage and sadomasochism?
It's is it sadomasochism? I thought it was slave and master.
You know, I'm
bound.
I'm gonna have some weird Google search history
BD?
today.
I know. I thought it was
Exacto knife.
bound dominated slave master. I think is what it stands for.
I don't know why I thought it was sadomasochism.
It could be. Well, I think it's bound dominated slave master.
Sadomasochism is. I'm very uneducated.
It means you're.
Well, no, it stands for bondage and bondage and discipline, dominance and submission.
Oh, submission. I'm just making shit up.
Sadoism and masochism. Yes, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. So.
Still, it's like, you know.
I have a weird.
Are we going to have to remove the word master from Bader? We're going to have to call it something else now?
Well, you know, it's just like the movie Idiocracy. What are you doing? Leave me alone. I'm baiting.
Are we going to call it primary baiting?
Leave me alone. I'm primary baiting here.
Should probably just cut out this entire rant.
Probably.
That's all right.
Oh, well. I don't think we said anything that offensive.
No. Cancel us if you want. We're not popular enough.
Oh, wow. We just got a theme song, man. Come on.
We do. We're on our way to the prime time, and I'm trying to get us canceled here.
If you have any, leave us a voicemail.
Anyway, so one announcement before we dive into our movie review for today. I'd like to announce that we now have a website that's kind of like this central hub for everything now, podcast related, and future projects too. So the website is themadpancaker.com.
I need to update my Scary Parents.
Did not go with the International House of Horror or International House of Horror podcast doc, just because the URL's way too long. I figured the Mad Pancaker is shorter. Plus, I got a lot of other ideas in the works and horror-related stuff. IHOF. Why would it be an F?
I don't know. It's good. IHO.
Yeah, I didn't like that either because it's not like it's a weird, you know, it doesn't like stand
like Ohio.
for anything.
It spells Ohio.
Yeah, well, there you go. So I just went with the madpancaker.com because it's also like a horror hub. I have some projects in the works that's okay. I got some projects in the work that would fall under my category, but not necessarily the podcast category. Right now, it's mainly just pretty much dedicated to the podcast. If you go and look at it.
While we do this, I'm going to update Scary Periods to that.
Sure. Also, it's got a blog there, so I'm going to try and do maybe twice a month, maybe if I get good enough at writing them quickly, because writing's a process, let me tell you.
I probably will not write.
It's kind of my blog, so I have a blog, so it's called...
I can't have a blog on your page?
Nope, you can't. Sorry, buddy. The blog's called Short Stack, so it's like a little brief, kind of short review of a movie.
One day I'll write one.
So there is a blog post up there. The first Short Stack is a brief little mini review of the 80s movie I, Madman. Premise of it is it's this lady's reading this old pulp horror story, and then she wants to read not like the sequel, but the only other work from the author, which is the titular I, Madman, and things from the book start to come to life and happen around her. So it's got a little bit of a kind of like with the Videodrome and some of that other stuff where it's got like this, is she really seeing it? Is it a figment of her imagination? Or is she acting it out because she's reading the book? That type of thing. Although it kind of towards the end, it kind of becomes clearly more supernatural, to spoil it a little bit. But it's a fun ride. I gave it a 4 on there. So, I mean, you can read my full review, and it has stars Clayton Ronner in it is one of the big names I remember. There's a couple other people. I forget. I'm gonna mix up like the names of his first and middle name, but it's like either William Randall Cook or Randall William Cook plays the Madman, the Mad Doctor character. He does some of the special effects work in the film, like some of the stop motion. The only thing really shaky with it is the stop motion. I go into detail. You can read the Short Stack about it, but he also did the effects for The Gate. And it's directed by the same guy who did The Gate, another fun little classic horror movie from the 80s. So I gave it a 4. It's very interesting. Moves along at a pretty good pace. Very fun film. Enjoyed it a lot. And like I said, it's got our good buddy Clayton Ronner from April Fool's Day. Enjoy him in a lot of stuff. So, and you can also find all the links to, I think, most of my social media on there. You can find links to the Patreon on there. And, of course, to Anchor. And as an alternative to leaving a voicemail at anchor.fm/themadpancaker, you can also leave a voicemail there. And I'll get it as well. So you got 2 different ways to leave a voicemail for the podcast now. And are you ready to take a big old bite into today's review, Perry?
Hold on, I got something at the gas station.
Oh, boy.
Next door. It's like the new Rage. Hold on one second.
Oh boy. Oh man, what is this stuff you got going on here?
Yeah, it's called The Stuff. I don't know. Something new. I'm going to try it.
Is that brand name The Stuff, or is that like the Stoof?
I don't know. It smells weird.
It smells weird.
It's really good.
It's really good. All right, so today we're reviewing the 1985 horror comedy film, The Stuff.
Sorry.
Written, directed, and executive produced by Larry Cohen, starring Cohen regular Michael Moriarty. It's got Andrew Markovici.
You want to try this?
No, I think I'm good over here. I think I'm going to let you keep eating the stuff over there. Wink.
All right.
Garrett Morris, and unfortunately recently just passed away before we even decided to do this episode, the late, great Paul Sorvino of Sopranos fame. Now, I think Scary Pod, or maybe you, Scary Perry, wink, wink, might have broke out of the Institute, and to try to boost ratings for this episode, whacked Paul Sorvino. And I know that's probably too soon.
Am I a mafia guy? Do I intimidate you?
He's started The Sopranos, so I'm making a reference there.
He was also the head mafia man in Goodfellas.
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, there you go. So he's got a lot of mafia reference. But no, I got a dark sense of humor, people. So, and, probably too soon. But, yeah, it's very sad.
Really good.
And we also lost David Warner, too. That was another one.
Rest in peace.
We might have to review it, David Warner.
Oh, yeah, and we lost, I don't know her name, but Euthura from the original Star Trek. Lieutenant Euthura.
Oh, yeah. Maybe I have to track down and see if she starred in a horror movie. David Warner was a big one. He's in a lot of like B horror movie type stuff. And then it's guest starring Danny Aleo and Patrick O'Neill. I don't know how you can guest star somebody in a movie. like I get it for a TV show because it's like guest starring. Oh, as in they're only in like this episode or maybe one other or two other episodes. Like I get introducing, but I don't get guest starring in a movie. How do you guest star in a movie?
I'm probably gonna get sick.
Yeah, you might want to slow down on eating
it's really good
stuff
because
there.
I'm waiting for my pancakes. This snack.
Oh, that's right. That's what I was gonna. Yeah, I was gonna ask if Delores had any hotcakes for us, but we already know the answer to that.
Hey, J Bones, you should get some stuff for the cakes.
Sure J Bones didn't get that for you? I feel like J Bones had a voicemail he was supposed to call in and leave for this episode, but neither here nor there. We'll keep going on. And then finally, it introduces Scott Bloom. And apparently somewhere, Abe Vigoda is in here. And I know which scene he is. Once I saw it, I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, there's a list of them.
There is a list.
Do we want to...
We'll talk about when it comes up. Abe Vigoda. The only reason I saw Abe Vigoda was because he was in like the quick
You know what the
Google
first
listing.
movie I saw Abe Vigoda in is? It's not a classic.
Good Burger.
It is Good Burger.
God.
He's so good at Good Burger.
Abe Vigoda. You were in The Godfather, for crying out loud.
I know. I'm sorry.
To fall from grace and be in The Good Burger.
It's a good movie. Shaq's in it.
Oh, jeez. All right, so continuing on with the rest of the main credits here, we got music by Anthony Goofin, however you pronounce it. The photography done by Paul Glickman. And now we can dive right into the movie proper.
I'm going to dive more into this stuff.
No, you want to pace yourself there. I don't need you having to not be able to run over to the gas station bathroom and hurl in it and have to
hurl. That stuff is great. It's low calorie, no artificial flavors.
If you say so, buddy. I mean, if you have to hurl, you might have to run quickly to this.
I think I'm going to get a diet of this stuff.
Whatever works, man.
It's the new fad.
Yeah, I mean, sure you don't want to just take a tapeworm instead?
Tapeworm? No, but I might try a laundry detergent pod.
Please, people don't eat laundry detergent pods. Jeez, don't want to get sued.
Why would I get sued? I just said I might want to. I'm not going to.
Kids do not imitate, Scary Perry says. So we open on a snowy night with some old codger walking around a snow-covered quarry. No David Arquettes or Ted Raimi's to be found.
Hey, did you know you can't kill David Arquette?
That's debatable. Anyways, and he's carrying a flashlight and he stumbles upon this white gooey substance bubbling out of the ground. How he noticed it in the white snow-covered ground is anybody's guess. So he bends over and scoops up some of it on one of his fingers. Now, Perry, if you find some strange substance on the ground, what's your first instinct to do?
Oh man, I'm gonna just get a handful of it. It's just this is like a fantasy of mine. I'm gonna do it one day. So like I want to go to like Sam's Club, BJ's, Costco, get like an industrial container of like Hellmann's mayonnaise and just stick my hand in it and eat it. I don't know why. That's weird, probably, but I want to do that.
Yeah.
I think this is what this guy was feeling. He wanted to do.
Yeah. So of course. So what's your first instinct to do? Eat it, of course. So this
I literally have. What is it right here? Where is it? I have why eat it, or I probably meant to say why the fuck are you eating it?
Right. So he sticks some of this stuff in his mouth and finds out it's tasty and sweet. So he keeps chowing down on this white goo when another guy comes up and asks him if he's eating snow, and he convinces him to try some of this stuff. So the old guy comes up with the brilliant idea that if enough of this stuff, get used to that word, we're going to be saying a lot in this episode, keeps bubbling up, that they can sell it. And then we jump cut to some kid in bed who is getting bit by mosquitoes.
Oh, okay, hold on.
Sure.
I'm sorry. I got fun fact here. So
fun fact number 1.
This is what I got from that mini documentary on my special edition of the stuff. It's basically all I got from the hour. I want that hour back of my time. No, it's all right. Cohen's a different kind of guy. It was before he passed away. Rest in peace, the director. But anyways,
he's interesting to listen to.
No,
he's in The In Search of Darkness 1 and 2.
Yeah. They haven't.
I think 1 and 2.
I have
definitely in the first.
They didn't want to shoot the scene because it was in like a snowstorm then because of the equipment. Because they were afraid somebody's going to get electrocuted or something's going to, blow out. Mm-hmm. But he was adamant on filming it because it looked so good. So they ended up filming it. A couple electronics that I know they heard like, I guess, popping sounds. He's like, but nobody got electrocuted, and he was like happy in the vein. So he was very happy with the shot.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to risk it in order to get a good shot, right?
Yeah, don't Alec Baldwin it. I mean, what?
Well, geez, different type of shot.
Take that out.
Yeah, we'll leave it in. It's kind of funny. Yeah,
right.
It's sad, but like I said, we got dark humor, people.
No.
Anyways, we're back with this kid. He's in his bedroom. He's getting bit by mosquitoes. I'm like, that's what you get for having your windows open, kid. And then we get our super generic, over the scene, plain white text title card with the rest of the credits. Back to Patrick O'Neill here. For some reason, they put a box around Patrick O'Neill's name, but for no one else. They just put this rectangular white outline around his name. Nobody else for whatever reason.
Where did they shoot this at? Sorry. New York, and L.A. So I'm going to guess it snowed in New York.
Could be. So this shirtless kid, he wanders downstairs to the kitchen and opens up the fridge. We then get a Tempo magazine stinger because inside he is shocked to see craft-grated Parmesan cheese.
Oh my God.
But no, really. He's shocked to see a container of the stuff on its side with the stuff moving on its own. So then his dad comes up from behind and gives him a good jump scare, telling his son that you scared me. You're the one that came up from behind him without telling the kid, buddy. I think he's the one that got scared by you. The kid asks his dad if he saw, but when they turn around and look, the stuff is inert and back in the container. The kid tries to tell his dad that the stuff was moving, but he isn't having any of it and yells at him to get back up to bed and smacks him on the rump and sends him on his way. But we get some ominous music afterwards as the father goes back and opens the fridge and decides to have a little midnight stuff. Uh-oh.
I want some stuff.
You gotta slow down on that stuff there, buddy. That's gotta last the whole episode.
My stomach hurts. It's all right, though. It's a good pain.
So then we cut to a random commercial of some middle-aged lady who sounds like she smokes 6 packs a day promoting the stuff, where she utters the catchphrase, "Enough is never enough." Also, she's wearing this big fur coat for some reason.
She has a really distinctive... I don't know what her name was. But
it's also a weird cut, and they do this a little bit throughout, and I'll talk a little bit more about this in the movie. They kind of weirdly cut back and forth from this stuff. Not the stuff, but from these scenes like of advertisements.
Tammy Lee Grimes.
Maybe. I'm not sure who it is.
I think that could be her.
That kind of looks like her.
Yeah.
Next, we cut to some water establishing shots of a bay and quickly onto a yacht with a bunch of business types who are discussing the stuff and give us some exposition that the owners of the stuff have acquired the Chocolate Chip Charlie production plants on the, quote, West Coast and are in the process of converting them in 60 days, after which they will go national. So the stuff isn't all around the country yet. So these guys are competing ice cream company owners who are worried about competition from the stuff. You know, it's going to hurt their business. And also, I put West Coast in quotes because, so West Coast, California. East Coast, New York, go down along the coast. You get your southern states. Now, most of the story kind of takes place around Virginia, Georgia, right? If I remember correctly later on.
State or Virginia and Midland, Georgia.
That's on the East Coast.
Yes.
And that's where Chocolate Chick Charlie's roaming around later. Not to spoil it, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Is roaming, and I'm like, does he have factories on the West Coast too? Like, does he still have his East Coast factories?
I noticed this. I didn't write that down.
Or did they fuck up?
Yeah, that's what I noticed.
I think they fucked up. Yeah. Either that, or I mean, he could be big. He's got a big nationwide brand.
He's supposed to be like famous.
But you would think if he lives on the East Coast, most of his production would still be
supposed to be like famous,
and then they just ship
at this time. But sorry.
Yeah. Moving on from that. So one guy mentions
that this movie was in 1985. I don't know how big.
I think I said.
This is before we were born, so I don't know how famous Amos was famous.
Right.
How famous was the famous Amos?
I don't know. So one guy mentions that they wish they knew how they make it so they could copy it. Or he means improve on it. Wink, wink. Ah, the 80s. The good old days of corporate espionage. Speaking of which, they haven't had any luck analyzing the ingredients or getting someone from the inside to spill the beans. So they're bringing in the best industrial spy in the business. Mo Rutherford, or David Rutherford, as is his real name, if I remember correctly, with his nickname being Mo, so they could stay in business and keep the world safe for ice cream. That's very important, keeping the world safe for ice cream. And speak of the devil, Mo is coming over on a speedboat right as they wrap up this conversation. And I'd like to point out that this entire scene is overdubbed terribly.
Oh, yeah.
The audio clearly isn't coming from them. It's just like coming from everywhere.
Oh, my God. So I'm looking at this, and I'm like, you probably watched it on Tubi, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I've watched this with you before, and I've watched this again. I own the special edition, so they remastered the Blu-ray, whatever. It's digitally remastered. I'm like, what is going on? Like, I'm watching on my play. That's what I use, PlayStation 4 for my thing. I'm pausing it to thinking maybe it's like a lag or something, and then unpausing it, and I still got this. The voices are so like overdubbed and off. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And then even later, some of the damn like CGI in this movie or whatever, it's CGI then, but and it looks grainy too. Like, I don't know how much they remastered this, but it's just like not the greatest thing ever.
Right. I think there's only so much you can do with remastering the sound, and it doesn't ruin the sequence, but it's easy to tell it's dubbed, which isn't, we watch a lot of Italian films, so it's easy to tell dubbing in there, but it's understandable and it's forgiving in that. And here, I mean, it's low budget, it's Larry Cohen, so I don't know how much of his...
Yeah, because
I've watched some of his other stuff, but
that's what they say.
I haven't watched
seen
a lot of
his
good. Other stuff.
They look good. Like it's called Q, I think.
Yeah, Q the Winged Serpent.
Yeah,
that's
that's
another one that's got kind of some low budgety monster effects, but they're kind of fun and campy. That's like one thing with this movie and a lot of his movies. It's also kind of a throwback to the old B movie days of the 50s and the 40s, 50s, even into the 60s a little bit. Of your black and white B monster movies and that type of thing. Doesn't ruin the film, but you kind of expect better from an 80s American production with the dubbing. There's some other stuff coming up that we'll talk about too, but that's the first.
Man, you really got nitpicky, huh?
I still like this film, but there's definitely some things like holding it back, but it's fun for what it is. So when Mo comes aboard, he asks another guy, is he used to be... I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this because
Sweaty Palms?
My notes are no, we're not Sweaty Palms yet. We're coming up to that. Mo asks this other guy if he used to be with the Bureau, as in the FBI, and he acknowledges Mo, but counters that at least he didn't get kicked out like him. But Mo quips right back that, yeah, he missed out on Abscam, DeLorean, all the good times.
Oh, DeLorean.
Referencing previous business scandals and alluding that he used to be an FBI agent. So Mo, he walks into this spacious living room on this yacht and introduces himself to all the businessmen here. I don't know if his southern accent is good, but it's awesome.
Oh God, I love it.
And like I said, I'm pretty sure Mo Rutherford here is the father of what was that guy's name? Harvey Howe Holstein or whatever that guy's name is. I mean, that's in our universe now. He's the official. Don't ask me. I mean, these movies came out. I mean, what happened was he got that DeLorean from Biff Tannen. He hooked up with his FBI agents afterwards.
I mean, he
used the DeLorean to go back in time to an age where he could impregnate and be Hal's father.
I mean, he probably could. He's 44 in this movie.
Well,
could have had him young.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. But I mean, you figure this movie's in '85. When was Fool's Day? It was 80 something.
I gotta, you're making me.
I guess he could have been his father. I guess he didn't have to go back in time
I don't think it does.
to conceive him.
And April Fool's Day was 19, so a year later. And
All right. It could have an illegitimate son. We're going with that. Mo is the illegitimate. Well, you're not an illegitimate father. I guess you could be. He's the father of Hal, who's his illegitimate son.
I don't even know where they.
All right, moving on.
Okay, this is just insane. Anyways,
so Mo walks into this. So yeah, he's in this spacious living room. So he starts shaking the hands of all the businessmen and saying, "Well, what do we have here? We got a sweaty palm. Oh wow, another sweaty palm. And what's this? A sweaty palm. That's 3 sweaty palms. Oh, we got 4 sweaty palm." I love Michael Moriarty. I need to watch more stuff with him in it. And this is alluding to that, they got sweaty palms because they're nervous, about the stuff and everything. So Mo asks them to brief him on the stuff, but they have nothing else for him, and he doesn't know why they just didn't go to the FDA. The bearded businessman informs him that right after the stuff was approved, all those involved approving it resigned and are either out of the country or on vacation. Now this contradicts something coming up later on, which we'll point out too. Mo quips, or they had been paid off. That is the American way, the 80s. Wait, that still happens today. That's an unfortunate rim shot there, but moving on. Another chimes in that they never had so much trouble getting information from the company, or from a company. They've never had so much trouble getting information from a company before. But Mo smirks and says, not to worry, he'll get in there and cause some damage, but it's going to be expensive. My southern accent sucks. I don't got it today. I think it's my nasal. I swear every time we go to record, my nasal passages just get fucked up.
Oh, you got the COVID.
No, it's not that. It's just freaking allergies and stuff.
Yeah, I know. Allergies are bad.
So Mo also tells them that he knows from his tap that they don't like him since he's been fired from the FBI, blackballed, and that somebody here said he was obscene. So the bearded guy asks, how the hell did he know that? And he says that, well, he was at the opera. He dropped this in your pocket. And he reaches in and pulls out a miniature microphone. Wireless, no less. It's fancy tech for the 80s.
Yeah.
Which leads to a humorous scene with the rest of the businessmen all checking their breast coat pockets to see if they've been bugged too. So the bearded man replies, well, I'll be a son of a bitch. Mr. And then Mo answers, Rutherford, Mo Rutherford. You know why they call me Mo? Because every time people give me money, I always want more. And as he smiles again, I love those little bits where he does the explanation about him being named Mo.
Was what?
I love Mike Moriarty's performance in this.
Oh, it's great.
So the bearded business guy tells Mo that I don't think you're quite as dumb as you appear to be. And Mo quips back, sir, no one is as dumb as I appear to be. So Mo then turns to the subject of his payment and is handed a check. And he says, that's good enough for starters. On his way out, he shows the check to the other former FBI agent. He calls Mo an asshole. And Mo turns to him and says, next time you're at the FBI, I can give him this for me. And then he decks the guy in the face and knocks him out cold and thanks the gentleman for the job. So now we cut back. We're back at the house with the kid. And it's breakfast time. And the mother yells at the older brother to go wake up his brother. And the dad chimes in that he's not missing school again today. Before the brother can go get him, though, he comes downstairs. The mother is going to make him breakfast, but he says he's not hungry and his stomach is bothering him. But the dad retorts that his stomach wasn't bothering him this morning and that he's already missed 3 days of school and he's not missing any more. The older brother, he jogs over to the fridge and reaches in and grabs the container of the stuff and asks if he can have some. And the mother says, sure, it's good for you.
Oh, wait. Oh, no, I need more stuff.
Yeah, dive in there, buddy. So Larry Cohen is known for his use of satire in his films, and I think this is a decent use of it in the jab at business, consumerism, and product advertisements and claims and the such. It's not the greatest use of satire ever, but it is effective and entertaining for this premise. I don't think it's I think I mentioned this later on in my notes too. I don't think it's quite as good as some satire in say Ghostbusters, or not Ghostbusters, RoboCop. Ghostbusters, RoboCop, 2 very favorite 80 movies of mine. I don't know why Ghostbusters popped in my head. I meant RoboCop.
That's all right.
Another good very good satire, Starship Troopers.
Oh, I like that movie.
Yeah. So I don't think it quite pulls off the satire as well as those movies, but it does a good enough job. Or Dawn of the Dead, which definitely has some satire elements of consumerism and, zombies being
There was a
pamphlet
consumers. In the stuff, and they had I don't know who wrote it, but about that consumerism,
right,
different satires in different films, and it mentioned Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah,
I don't have it with me, and but it named other movies where food is a premise.
Yeah. So the younger brother says not to eat it, trying to convince them it isn't good and it's spoiled. But the mom, she sticks her finger in and tries some and says, it doesn't taste spoiled. I'm like, you put the finger in the container. Now it's contaminated. It's got the germs from your finger on it in there. You don't double dip the chip.
Not in that day, apparently. I guess that's a 90s thing.
No, maybe the benign bacteria in it.
Sorry.
You all right there?
It's something with my insides. Ow.
Okay, you all right there?
My stomach kind of hurts right now.
I don't think you're going to make it to that. I told you, you're going to end up throwing up. And you're
the
not going to be able to make it to the good gas station bathroom.
He eats like 5 tubs of it every day.
You're going to end up in the crappy bathroom here to have to throw up because it's closer.
I refuse to. I'll just throw up on you.
Well, that's not very nice. Dolores, can you throw this kid out of here?
Oh, she's not around, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, she's too busy in the back looking after their stockpile or something. Anyways. So she tries to give the younger brother a spoonful to try, but he doesn't want any and tries to tell them it moves around by itself. So his brother scoffs at him and asks him what he's on, but the kid isn't having any of it and smacks the stuff out of the mom's hand and storms off as it splatters against the cupboards. The dad yells at the boy and says, Jason, you come back here this minute. So I think this might be young Jason Voorhees. He went off, got adopted, and this is what he's been doing between Friday the 13th parts 1 and 2 after seeing his mother die.
This makes sense. Oh my God, this makes so much sense.
Now, there might be a discrepancy between the age jump and also the year made, because, I think Friday the 13th part 2 was in 81, if memory serves me correct.
But the DeLorean is
yeah, he's going to hop in the DeLorean. I got a rationale for the age rapidly aging from the Crystal Lake scene to now. We'll get there. So the mother cleans it up and remarks that it doesn't leave a spot. Low in calories, great tasting, and doesn't leave a spot. And he doesn't like it.
Why the fuck would it leave a spot? It's like white cream.
Some things like
on
leave a stain.
Wood.
It could.
Cupboard.
Stuff. Well, a ring of water from a glass or a can can leave on the hardwood table. It could leave a stain.
Immediately, though. It's not like wine right on a carpet.
Yeah, still.
Red wine on a white carpet. All right. Fair
enough. So we then cut to a close-up of some petri dishes in a lab containing the stuff. In this lab, a scientist is telling Mo that there's nothing like it around. He doesn't understand why the government regulations haven't forced them to reveal the contents. Another guy in the room chimes in that they are protected by the FDA's Statute of Identities rule, which also protects Coca-Cola's secret formula, as the guy conveniently holds Coke in his hand for some well-timed product placement. Also, I'd like to point out, no Coke, Pepsi.
Well,
Pepsi guy
they did used to put cocaine in Coke, which is nice.
Well.
What?
But seriously, Pepsi sponsorship, huh?
Dunkin' Donuts sponsorship.
Oh, that's some sort of sponsorship. We gotta make the money somehow.
Maybe the stuff will sponsor.
Don't forget, support us on Patreon. Oh, before moving on from that point, though, I feel it's funny that in a movie that's kind of like jabbing at consumerism, they still have clear product placement throughout this movie. It is what it is. You need to get that money, that product placement money for the funding.
If that is, you got anything for that, but whatever.
Oh, probably. If you don't get the proper approval, they won't even let you use your product in the film. Okay. Usually. Off on a side tangent here, but like in the first Leprechaun, with Jennifer Aniston, so they originally got the rights to use Lucky Charms, but then after they saw the first cut of the movie, they weren't allowed to use Lucky Charms because they're like, "What is this? This isn't what we signed up for. No, you can't use ours." So they had to. I think it's called.
What was it
so they have like some knockoff
Diet Pepsi,
brand,
right?
Yeah, it's Diet Pepsi, and
they're probably like, beer. "Yes, we love it."
Like, oh man, that Pepsi's shooting everywhere. Anyways, continuing on now. So Mo informs them that the lady walking in is doing some undercover work for her because if they want the stuffed secret formula, they're going to have to steal it. But then we never see this woman again. Like, you don't know, did she infiltrate the factory? Did she get captured? Is she just like another scientist and he's making a joke or something? I have no idea. Like, she never shows up in the movie again from what I remember.
Maybe the stuff got her.
The stuffies got her. Talk more about the Stuffy soon. From there, we cut to a commercial with models being filmed for the stuff, using the same runway set from the earlier commercial snippet we had, and a lady is directing them, all while this kickin' 80s jingle/theme for the stuff plays. And it goes, "One lick is never enough of the stuff.
You can't get enough of the stuff."
All these women are in bathing suits with fur coats on, praying around on the runway while eating the stuff, and I just don't get that gimmick. I mean, I get it. So maybe they're trying to say, oh, we're fancy, we got fur coats, but we're also, the stuff gives us this nice sleek body and thin body so we can show off in our bathing suits. I don't get what the premise was, Only in the excesses of the 80s could something like that be pulled off in anything. So Mo just comes strolling onto the set, though, and he interrupts the whole thing. And the director asks what the hell is he doing, but Mo tells everyone he has to talk to Miss Kendall about her job and tells them to take a break. Mo puts on his southern charm and apologizes for interrupting her like that. But I can't wait in line, and I can tell you right now that you're not the type of person to wait in line to get where you are now either, are you? Intrigued, she asks how does he know that story about her, and he hands her his card and replies that that's how I got to where I am today and that you're awful pretty. Oh boy. Smooth, Mo, real smooth. So she reads the name on the card aloud, David Rutherford, but Mo replies, Mo, my friends call me Mo. They call me Mo because every time they give me something, I always want Mo. So he concocts this ruse that he wants to put her on their PR campaign for the company he's representing, Lehigh Petroleum, to convince the public that the company cares about the public's interest. So she wants to know why her, and he points to what she did for the stuff, and she invented the name. Today, I feel like the product would just be called the stuff, or it wouldn't be called the stuff, it would just be called stuff. They dropped the, that's, kind of popular nowadays. Like when Facebook was first around, it was the Facebook, and then they just dropped the, and now it's just Facebook. I feel like that, if they did a remake of the stuff, it would just be called stuff.
Yeah,
Not that
yeah.
I mean, I guess they could remake this, but I feel like they just fucking CGI the shit out of the stuff. I mean, it probably wouldn't look too much worse than the composite shots that we're going to be having coming up. More on that in a bit. So she explains that she doesn't have a lot of time for his company, but he counters that he doesn't want to hire an agency, but wants to buy her agency and put her in charge. Ah, the 80s. The era of corporate buyouts, mergers, and hostile takeovers. So this piques her interest, though. She takes her card over to her assistant and tells her to check this guy out and to cancel her dinner date and get her a dress to wear. Remember, kids, always sell out. The money is worth it. If anybody wants to buy this podcast for a pretty penny, just let me know. We will sell out and we will shill whatever you want. So she comes back, so they plan their dinner arrangements. So she asks where he's staying, and he replies, the Sherry Netherland. And she asks if they have room service there, and Mo chuckles and says, his limousine's just outside. And man, boy, did this escalate quickly. And apparently the moral of the story is, remember, ladies, to get ahead in life, you're going to have to... Wait a minute, no, that's a terrible message. But it's highly implied, it's like, whoa, this guy's rich and he's throwing money around. I should snooze up and,
my limousine's outside also.
Yeah, mine's bigger.
Yeah.
So we then jump to a busy grocery store as Jason wanders around. Is this the Friday 13th and Intruder crossover we always dreamed of?
I think this is the greatest scene in this movie.
It's pretty good. So while walking down an aisle, he sees a kid sitting in a shopping cart eating the stuff, and he rips it out of the kid's hand and throws it on the ground and stomps on it. And he runs down the aisle and collides with a box that sends boxes of food all over the place. I'm like, geez, Jason, you're making a mess for the Walnut Lake crew for the night shift to have to clean up later. How inconsiderate. So I'm willing to bet that the reason the Walnut Lake grocery store went out of business is because they invested too much into the inventory of the stuff and lost a bunch of money when it was confiscated and the company collapsed. I think that's why good old Bill and that other guy had to put the store up for sale or whatever, or close it down.
I mean, the stuff makes you have to do some quickies.
So Jason runs over to the cooler section and goes ape shit on the stuff on the shelves. He's gone ape shit, knocking the containers all over the floor. Although there is a distinct lack of the stuff in the actual containers, you could clearly tell like they're empty containers. I get it, you're not going to fill every single one up. But they could have put some sort of filler in there, like cheap filler, I know then you'd have to worry about the filler spilling out if it's not white color, like if they just filled them with a little bit of sand to give them some weight. So.
Yeah.
But then you'd have to worry, once they bust open, does sand spill out? But there's a little bit of the stuff thrown about that comes out. Not a lot, but a little bit, but like not nearly enough to justify what's in the containers. And that's why I point out right here in my notes here, like there's not a whole lot of the actual stuff spilling out on the floor. So some people try to restrain him, but he slips through and runs to the next area, and the music is just blaring and intense. It's a pretty fun scene overall. So next he grabs a rake, and he uses the handle to knock all the stuff off, what I think is one of those big, long, like, center, like, floor piece coolers that, like, they'll, like, put meat in. I think they got, like, a bunch of the stuff set up on the divider between the two sections of the cooler, and he just takes that thing straight down and knocks them all over.
Yeah.
At the very end of that, a couple of guys are stacking a large display at the end of the stuff. and they see the kid coming in and say, "Aw, shit." I'm like, maybe they can leave the mess for Sam and Ted Raimi to clean up later tonight.
It's to me, like, when they said it, it's like almost like this has happened before. To them, like,
I mean, it is a
like,
grocery store.
Shit, here
You know, people, they got probably weirdos that come and drop stuff or spill shit. So the kid gets to them and he swings the handle into the display and knocks it over. Unintentionally, I managed to pause this right at the time before he swings. And this kid just has like this big old shit-eating grin on his face, like he's really enjoying doing this. It's kind of an oops, but I mean, at the same time, like, you could tell the kid was having fun, and it's something you wouldn't notice, like, if you just playing the scene normally, just didn't happen to pause it, you wouldn't notice it at full speed. So he takes this rake and he just swings it and knocks down the one of those cardboard signs they got hanging from the ceiling of the stuff. And then he smashes the rake into the glass cooler, displays the stuff. I'm like, geez, that's some cheap glass to shatter that easily from like a wooden rake handle.
Nice sugar glass.
Yeah. He's finally tackled by employees and he shouts out his warning that's going to kill you all. Now we're back with Mo, and he goes to visit Mr. Vickers, one of the few remaining FDA members that approved this stuff, posing as a reporter from Consumer Magazine. And now, in the conversation that comes up, it sounds like he hasn't retired yet, but he's getting ready to. And I'm like, whoa, man, earlier on the boat you guys said everybody retired, but this guy hasn't yet? He's greeted at the door by Vickers' pet Doberman that growls at his arrival. So he lets Mo in, and they go to the living room, and they sit down to talk about the stuff. Mo asks if the dog is friendly, and Vickers tells him it's harmless. I'm sure that's not going to come back to bite him later. Oh, man, I didn't even intend to have that pun in there. So Mo starts to ask him questions about the stuff, like how long was it tested before it was approved and how it's made. But the guy explains to Mo that if they don't have any major problems with the product, they have to improve it. And they're testing, they don't find any flaws or anything wrong or any harmful substance gets approved. But in this case, it was a pleasure because he just loves the stuff and even feeds it to his dog. And his dog's name is Ben. Right on cue, the dog comes over and growls and keeps barking and growling, which makes Vickers a little nervous. So Vickers offers to give Mo the names of the people on the panel since he's just an administrator and not a chemist. So Mo tells him he already tried that, and for whatever reason, they're all out of the country or deceased. So Mo asks where they tested it, and Vickers answers, Virginia, and he says he still has the files and he can have them to copy. So he goes to get them, and his dog starts going apeshit, and he tells it, good boy, and heads off to get the papers, right as the eerie music starts to play. So Mo asks the dog, why is your master so afraid of you? And Mo asks the dog if it is hungry and leads it to the kitchen. And what does Mo find but a whole table full and boxes of the stuff containers lying on the floor? So Vickers comes back downstairs with the files and sees Mo on his way and tells him, bring the files back anytime, And he's like, I'll bring them right on back to you. I'll mail them on back after I photocopy them. So with Mo gone, Vickers tells Ben that he's been a good boy and that he has a treat for both of them. I'm like, I'm not sure I like where this is going. Like, is this going to be some peanut butter, type weird shit action? Like, this guy lives alone, just him and his dog. Maybe that's why the dog's barking at him. Maybe, the dog's the dominant one in the relationship. I always come back to sex jokes. So meanwhile, it's night now, and Mo drives by a Dairy Queen like ice cream parlor, but instead it is for the stuff. And it's also blaring that awesome stuff theme, and this place is busy, especially for 2:30 a.m., as Mo points out. Back with Vickers, he's in trouble because his dog's going apeshit again. Whoa, he's gone apeshit, man. And he's lying on the floor trying to call for help on the phone, but the dog comes over and rips the cord out of the wall. So Vickers cowers underneath an end table as Ben continues to bark at him. Then Ben's jaws dislocate, allowing them to open wider than normal. A big old blob of the stuff is coming out of his mouth, and he closes in to, quote-unquote, attack Vickers. And I love the fun and campiness of this scene and the throwback to old B-movies with, like, the dishinged jaw. And it's a neat effect, but it's kind of cheap looking, too. The puppet they use, as I mentioned, the mouth shots, doesn't even look like the actual dog. And when it goes into actually attack, while it's not shown for long, you could tell it just moved in and started to lick the guy's face. So we briefly cut to a shot of a bustling highway with a stuffed billboard. And this is where I point out in this movie that I think this movie is trying to be like RoboCop, how RoboCop did with its insertion of commercials and advertisements in between scenes for satire. I think it's okay, but I don't think it's quite pulled off as well as RoboCop. But then I'm like, wait a minute. This predates RoboCop? What the fuck? I guess RoboCop ripped off this and just did it better. Back with Mo, he pulls up to a mobile gas station to fill up. The attendant mentions there are nice, clean restrooms out there. So is this the gas station next door? Also, remember the days of gas station attendants? I mean, he said there's nice. He really emphasizes these nice, clean restrooms. So is that the mobile gas station? It's hard to tell because it looks like the sign's faded and like part of it has fallen off. But
it's nice in there, man.
I guess so.
They sell the stuff,
right? So Mo asks the attendant if this is Stater, and he confirms it. And that Stater, Virginia, is where they first tested They did a test market for the stuff. So Mo tells him he's looking for an old friend of his, Melville, but the guy says he moved out along with most of the town. And Mo asks, hey, nobody here but you? But the guy is still obsessed with this bathroom, stating, don't you want to wash your hands or something? I put a new towel in. So Scary Barry, go next door and wash your hands for Christ's sake. Let's try out that guy's new towel.
I already have. It's a nice towel.
All right. Is it nice and soft? Absorbent?
Yeah.
Okay, good to know.
This seems not
seems
around anymore.
That seems a bit unsanitary.
Those are
Yeah,
gone
because you would
now.
use paper towels or a blow dryer.
I always never used one of those when I was younger. I seen them in bathrooms. I thought it was so disgusting.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah, unless they're changing out regularly, like maybe like every hour or two, you know.
I still wouldn't touch that.
Then we got some ominous music starts to play as a car pulls up down the street and stops. When Mo inquires, the gas station attendant says he doesn't recognize it either. So Mo decides to take a stroll over to the car. And that's when the attendant makes a break for it and just runs off into some brush, which is just like really random. It's like, I mean, you get it. He's probably a stuffy, as you find out later on. So as Mo inspects the car, this black guy jumps out of nowhere and we get a Tempo Magazine stinger as he yells, "Hiya!" and jump kicks Mo to the ground with his karate moves. And when he tries to strike him on the ground, Mo dodges and he gets the upper hand, knocking him to the ground. When he recognizes one of the best characters in this movie and exclaims, "You're Chocolate Chip Charlie!" And Charlie replies with a zinger saying, "Well, I sure as hell ain't the Kentucky Colonel." So Mo asks what he's doing there. And he says, "I'm trying to find out something about the son of bitches who stole my company out from under me and threw me out on my beautiful black ass." Oh, I love this guy. So he also tells Mo that somehow they got his asshole brother and 2 idiot nephews and everybody else he trusted with stock to turn on him. Let that be a lesson to you folks. Keep your company private and be the sole shareholder. Charlie is hoping to find some dirt to expose them for stealing his company. When Mo inquires how he found out about this place, he said it was left as the forwarding address for his relatives after they disappeared. So they decide they're going to team up and go to the post office to check out the forwarding addresses. But when they inquire to the postal worker there, he is less than helpful, so Charlie snatches some mail out of his hand and sees that all the mail is being forwarded to Midland, Georgia. So Mo looks around and sees a box of trash, which contains numerous empty containers of the stuff.
Was the post office inside the gas station?
I think it was like
that's what I thought.
Post office / like little convenient mart, maybe the gas station too.
And a nice clean bath restroom.
Yes, nice clean restroom. After inquiring about the containers of stuff, he remarks to the postal worker that it's about dinner time, so why don't you close up shop and we'll take you out for a bite to eat. But the postal worker remarks he's already eaten. Mo follows it up asking why did he stay behind, and the man tells him to go away and leave us alone. Charlie seizes on this slip and says there isn't anybody else here except the gas station attendant who is gone now too. The man says, we aren't bothering anybody, then makes this croaking noise and says, excuse myself, and says, I'll be right back. Uh-oh, you don't say I'll be right back in a horror movie. And he goes into the back. So Mo and Chocolate Chip Charlie have a discussion about the guy, and they agree that he isn't in, quote, proper operating order, so they decide they're going to knock him out and take them with him for examination. But before they can act, they hear the guy groaning in the back room. They try calling to the guy, but they get no answer, and we get a sweet shot of a stream of the stuff just heading for the window, this like straight solid line of it, and of the stuff coming out of this guy's mouth as it's like unhinged wide open, kind of like the dog from earlier. So after receiving no answer, Mo has Charlie unleash his karate moves on the door. And he says he always knocks first and gives us a shave and a haircut before jamming the palm of his hand through a panel on the door for the 2 bits. So we get another shot of this guy's stretched open maw, mostly devoid of the stuff now. Which, like I said, it looks really awesome with this unhinged jaw. The effects in this can be kind of hit or miss, but they're mostly satisfying, and even if they aren't
good
great
for what they have.
Yeah, they're kind of fun.
Yeah.
So they see the guy, and Charlie remarks, nobody's mouth could open that wide. And Mo decides that they're going after, because they see the broken window, They're going after it and hopes Charlie has a gun, to which he remarks that his hands are lethal weapons. I love Chocolate Chip Charlie so much. So they stroll out into the night to pursue, but they hear footsteps, and it ain't the rhythm of the night. I just came up with that on my own. We have to have a musical reference once per episode, right?
Oh, my God.
It ain't the rhythm of the night that they're hearing, so it's a bunch of footsteps, and they see a group of guys are running toward them. Charlie says the only thing Chocolate Chip Charlie knows better than fighting is running, and Mo asks him to pick a direction, and then they take off. So the music kicks in as they head for a rowboat on a river, but their pursuers catch up with him, so Charlie gives them some of the old chocolate chip zoo and notices that the guy he hit is spewing the stuff from a gaping hole in his neck. And Charlie exclaims, "I just knocked a hole in that sucker!" So a guy with a garden rake tries to attack Charlie, but Mo punches him in the jaw, causing him to fly off and leaving a cavity in the man's face as he gurgles and spews the stuff from it. So they finally make it into the boat and cast off, leaving their attackers behind on the shore. Before moving on, though, we cut back to a shot of the postal worker, and now he's back to normal and stuffing some of that stuff back into his mouth from his chin. So cutting to the inside of a diner, Mo and Charlie sit down to get a cup of coffee since they don't have the stomach to eat after seeing that guy with his mouth wide open. I'm just like, man, that was a quick boat ride.
Yeah. They cut
there's some
cut
passage of time. Yeah,
so fast.
Yeah, you don't need to see the passage of time there. It's implied.
Yeah.
But Charlie asks if they have any good chocolate chip cookies, and the waitress says they sure do. So Mo turns around loudly and yells, "Do you have any of the stuff?" Which causes the diner to go silent for a moment. Speaking of which, hey, Delores, you got any of the stuff around here for Perry over here? No?
What?
Yeah, she's probably hogging it all for herself, too, that bitch. Anyways.
Yeah, I'll just go to the gas station.
There we go.
I need some more of the stuff.
You need some more of the stuff. You just can't get enough over there?
I can't get enough.
So the waitress says they don't have any, but it's on order. But they continue to get the look from the cook and some customers, and not the look from Roxette, like I mentioned last episode, I think. So Mo leans in and whispers to Charlie that it's time for them to Scooby-Doo and split up, and tells him to go to Washington, D.C. and see Special Agent Frank Herbert from the FBI to try to convince him of their findings. Charlie repeats it a little too loud, and the waitress notices it. So Mo pays for his coffee and parts way with Charlie and asks some of the other guys sitting at the counter if they're going his way, and one of them offers to give him a lift. But before Mo can take off with Enos here, he tells Charlie to remember where you are.
So anyways, I got a fun fact here.
Sure.
Frank Herbert, that's the guy who wrote Dune.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
Good call there.
Yep.
Was that intentional reference, or was it just a coincidence?
I read it.
But I mean, was it intentional they used that name, or was it just like a coincidence?
It might have been a coincidence. I could try to find the thing, but just
this doesn't really. This really isn't Dune related. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if Larry Cohen was just a big Frank Herbert fan or reading the book at the time.
He might.
You never know. It could just be a coincidence.
Let me just.
It's a simple name.
It's just a little thing.
So, however, ominous music begins to play, and we see the waitress storm off into the kitchen and to the walk-in cooler, opening it and going inside to reveal it is filled with nothing but the stuff. We then cut to a city, I believe it's New York City, and there's a shot of the stuff advertisement painted on the side of a large brick building.
It doesn't say, real quick.
Okay. With a tagline underneath, "Enough is never enough." So Mo, he's walking down the street, not singing doo-wah-diddy, diddy-da, diddy-doo, past a food cart selling the stuff. And upon seeing him, the person manning one of those like little food street cart selling the stuff reaches inside and pulls out a walkie-talkie and says, "Here he comes." So suddenly, the music intensifies with some knockoff Jaws-type music, and a stuffed van comes swerving in from another street and comes flying towards Mo as he tries to cross the street, but is able to run out of the way before he can be hit. So Mo goes to meet with an executive that distributes the stuff, and he already knows about his encounters in Stater. This guy sure knows a lot. News traveled quickly to him. So Mo questions him about the stuff and if he knows what it is. But the guy says nobody knows what it is, and the people who brought it to him were already addicted to it. So Mo tries to dig in a little bit for more information, saying that was long before he test bargained in Stater, asking where did it all start. He follows that up with everyone from Stater went to Midland, Georgia, and that your conglomerate owns a mining company in Midland. The executive tells Mo that you can't stop it and just let it go. Mo threatens that he can shut him down, but the executive is skeptical that anyone would listen to a disreputable character like him. Mo chimes in that he could always kill him, And the guy laughs and instead offers that you could just come and work for me. And he goes and receives an envelope with $25,000 in $1,000 bills. Man, I want me some $1,000 bills. Just throw that, like, you got change for $1,000? I don't even know where you can get $1,000 bill
those
if
real?
they even make
That's
them.
what
I think they do.
I
but
wanted to ask that, and then you'd be like, "Are you stupid?" And I'm
no,
like,
I
"I've
think
never
it's
seen it."
I think it gets mentioned a couple times in some other things. So I don't know. You'll have to look it up.
Oh god, the Google machine is alive.
We'll see I wonder who they put on it. Probably somebody weird.
It's probably Taft.
It's probably like Eisenhower or somebody.
Know.
Not that Eisenhower's weird, but just like somebody random.
Let's see here.
I mean, Eisenhower's a big deal, but
It is. They're selling it for
maybe Teddy Roosevelt.
They're selling it for I think it's Roosevelt for $5,000. I can't see it. I can't make out this.
$5,000 to get $1,000. That doesn't seem like a good deal.
Oh no, it's Grover Cleveland.
Grover Cleveland.
Yeah.
Do they still make them?
I don't know.
Can't imagine there's that high of a demand for them.
Oh, there was a $500 bill, discontinued in 1969.
So now it's definitely a collector's item, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, Mo probably made out like a bandit like that. That $25,000 is now
I don't know. This is like
five times as much.
It's like the $2 bills discontinued.
Yeah.
Which I have a few of those. The
Yeah, they're still
$500 bill
supposed.
had McKinley, and then $1,000 bill, and I don't know. Oh, they had a $5,000 bill. It had Washington on it,
Washington got 2 bills and the quarter?
and there was a $10,000 bill.
Jesus.
It's actually not a president. Salmon P. Chase,
Of Morgan Chase fame?
governor
Governor.
and senator of Ohio,
Huh.
under Abraham Lincoln.
Huh.
He became the Chief Justice.
Interesting. Anyways, back to the
Oh,
stuff.
sorry. There's a $10,000 bill. Woodrow Wilson.
Oh, I thought you said Chase was on it.
Oh, $100,000 bill.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
I'm sorry. I didn't even know this. You learn something new every day. All right, I'm sorry.
Anyways, back to the stuff. Mo pockets the money, because why wouldn't he? And then we jump forward, and he's talking with Miss Kendall on the streets of the city, revealing to her what he knows about the stuff, and she feels guilty and is upset. Mo offers to trade sins with her. Not like that, people. You know, he already did that earlier with her, implied. But reveals that he isn't an oil millionaire, is really an industrial saboteur, and takes her to his lab. So she asks why doesn't he go to the FBI, but he counters that he doesn't have any credibility with any federal agency. So she suggests Ralph Nader, and that dates this film a little bit with, you know, Ralph Nader and his consumer advocacy groups from back in the day. Oh, yeah, I got that in my notes. We really are dating this movie as a period piece with that reference. But he's got a bad name with him since some auto companies hired him to discredit consumer groups, and he did too good of a job. So Mo tells her he has to go to the factory tonight with her tonight to get real proof. He kind of flubs the line in the process, too. Like he...
I think I
I don't know. I guess it's kind of realistic.
Like,
I'm like, why didn't they just do a second take? Or was it like intentional? Or were they like, or was Cohen like, you know, that gives it some authenticity, you know, that you would, you know, people, as I'm doing right here, people stumble in real life talking. Yeah. Come on, Larry Cohen, you could have done a second take. The doc comes up and shows Mo a newspaper that shows that his son, Harvey, is going to jail in the year 2015. Just kidding. He shows him an article talking about little Jason Voorhees going on the stuff killing spree at the Walnut Lake supermarket. So Mo decides he has to see that kid for reasons. Hey, our A and B plots have to meet up at some point, right?
I mean, they have to, I guess.
So he tells her that he'll meet her at the airport, and then he leaves to find this kid. I guess maybe because he knows he could be in danger, so he feels obligated to save him. I don't know what the reason is. Maybe because he can be a witness to the effects of the stuff. So next we cut to a shot of a TV playing a commercial for the stuff, complete with an 80s jingle, and the commercial is 80s to the extreme with bright clothing and headbands, etc.
I love the 80s.
And speaking of commercials, I think now is a good time for us to take a brief break.
I'm going to go get some stuff next
You
door.
go do that, and I'll go get a Pepsi, wink. All right, we'll be right back from our brief break. And we're back.
A dinosaur story.
Give that a rib shot. That's pretty good. All right, so this TV with this commercial. So we're at Jason's room. And if you don't believe that he is going to grow up to be the Crystal Lake Killer, then look no further than the Darth Vader poster on his wall.
Do you see some of the stuff on his wall?
Well, hold on, I'm getting
Okay.
So it's practically screaming he's going to the dark side. So, okay, go ahead, talk about some of the stuff. Because I have one big one to talk about.
It's just like, I understand like they're young kids. So he's got a lot of like hair metal bands on his wall, but I can't like make it out. But the one you could clearly make out is in the bathroom. There's just a giant Motley Crue poster in the bathroom.
So I do have something to say about that. Does he have like some monster movie posters or something in his room too? I can't remember.
He has some I wonder who decorated that room.
So, but next to the Darth Vader picture, there's a picture hanging up. I'm just like, is that a picture of Sting? I think it's Sting. I even looked up pictures of Sting from the 80s, and I saw that same white guitar. Tempo Magazine Sting.
Oh, okay.
We'll have to go.
The singer.
We'll try to have to screenshot, and I'll ask you to look and see if it's Sting. I'm pretty sure it's Sting.
I have to look at his room more. Yeah.
Which, boom, man, another intruder connection. I'm telling you, Friday the 13th, the stuff, Walnut Lake Run, what do I want to call it? The Walnut Lake Run, Walnut Lake grocery store. It all ties together, man.
Yeah, man. I get you. It's just some weird. I just wonder, they're just throw some 80s shit on popular shit on the wall. It's in the bathroom, a giant Motley Crue. I get that. That's probably the the boys' bathroom, him and his brothers. But
yeah, but who puts
they probably
a poster like that in the bathroom?
They probably had a master bathroom.
Jeez,
I didn't mean it like that. That's what you call it.
Yes, you probably can't call it that anymore. It's probably the primary bathroom.
Back then, you could call it the master,
right? Because it was.
Do they call it master bathroom?
Did they need to put up a poster of
you might have had a master. Well, actually, it came out in '80s.
I mean, where else do you do your masturbating? But in the master bathroom.
No, I'm sure there's more baiting in the Motley Crue bathroom. But anyways. All right.
Well, we'll just start calling it the Master of Puppets bedroom.
But anyways, I'm going to just cut real quick. Those two are really brothers in real life.
Yes, I did notice in the credits there was another Bloom, and I figured they were
I have
brothers.
More on the older brother.
Because the younger one is Scott Bloom, right?
Yeah, I have more on him at the end.
Are they related to Orlando Bloom?
I doubt it.
Never know. Anyways, back on track here. So it looks like Jason is grounded, but he heads downstairs, and we get some creepy music along with some old school video game sounds in the background as he sees that all the regular food has been thrown away, and he sees a trash bag filled with the stuff containers. I wish it was just called stuff so I could stop saying the stuff front of everything.
You have to say the stuff.
I know. He heads into the living room, and the rest of the family is gathered around the TV eating the stuff as the other son is playing some ColecoVision. And I actually was like, is it Intellivision or ColecoVision? I had to look it up and I actually found the game. So I'm like, yes, it is the ColecoVision. When Jason questions them about them eating the stuff for dinner, and their mom replies that they are dieting. Yeah, it's kind of like intentionally eating a tapeworm. So they are definitely
a laundry pot. What? Tide Pod time for a Tide Pod.
Please don't eat Tide Pods, people. Don't imitate Scary Perry's activity.
I do not eat I don't eat Tide. Do I look like a guy that eats Tide Pods?
Well,
Tide Pods. I can't even talk right.
I mean, you never know. Anyways.
Paint chips, maybe.
So they're definitely stuffies now, and they're trying to get Jason to have some. But he refuses to eat it because there is something alive in there. But the dad just counters that there's living benign bacteria in yogurt and yeast in bread, and that, that's living things in a food product.
He's got a good point there.
The stuff is good for them.
It kills the irregulars or whatever.
Yeah, it kills the bad things inside us.
Whatever Jamie Lee Curtis eats in her yogurt commercials.
Oh, yeah. I do remember the Jamie Lee yogurt commercial.
She's also not only a scream queen, she's a yogurt queen.
Yeah. Getting that yogurt money. Yeah, he says the stuff is good for them. It kills the bad things inside us, delivered with a creepy smile. So Jason tries to make a run for it, but his brother grabs him before he can escape. The camera then creepily zooms in on his parents as they offer him some of the stuff and send him to his room until he eats it. So Jason sneaks into that Motley Crue bathroom instead and dumps out the stuff into the toilet. It starts to rise out of the toilet, but Jason flushes it down. So back downstairs, the refrigerator door is open to reveal it is full of the stuff. I guess they just can't get enough of it, huh? Except that there is 2 bottles of not the stuff in there. Some loyal stuffies they are. I couldn't make out what the 2 bottles were either. They are some weird brands of things.
Probably something generic or something.
Yeah, or something that's not quite as relevant nowadays.
Yeah, not in production, I guess.
Yeah. Jason heads back downstairs. Oh, back in the bathroom first. Jason fills the empty container of the stuff with some Barbasol because this film needs more corporate sponsorship to go with its jab at corporate advertising. And speaking of which, Jason heads back downstairs, fooling everyone by eating the shaving cream. After a few bites, he makes a run for it, but leaves the container behind, but letting his dad taste it and exposing his ruse. Outside, he's being chased by his family when Mo just so happens to conveniently pull up at the perfect time to tell him he saw it move too and get in, rescuing him from his family. Jason proceeds to spew Barbasol into the backseat of Mo's car, and Mo takes it pretty well, telling the kid, the kid tries to apologize and explain, and he's like, oh, well, everyone has to eat shaving cream once in a while. So they head to the airport.
I imagine him. Why is he like in the back of the house? Why wouldn't he be in the front of the house? He like exited out of the back of the house.
Oh, I don't know.
Like,
Closest door.
Why is he trying? Like, I mean, why is Mo?
Maybe the street comes
why
along.
Is Mo doing?
Well, maybe the street comes along the back
Oh,
because maybe
okay.
he was going to sneak in to get the kid.
Yeah, I mean, he is
Mo
Yeah. Rutherford.
You know why they call me Mo?
You know why they call me Sweaty Palms?
Because every time I try to sneak into a building, I always give him Mo. I don't know what I'm trying to do there. They head to the airport where Miss Kendall, I think her name's Nicole. I don't hear her name till later. I'm just going to start calling her. Yeah, I have it actually coming up.
They don't give her last name on the
well, that's
Wikipedia.
What
They just call her Nicole.
Yeah, so I'm like, what's this girl's name?
So that's why I'm like, where the hell? Are you getting
well, he called her Miss Kendall.
No, I'm sure it's.
And
then
he has he calls her Nicole later on. So I just looked it up. I'm like, I'm tired of typing this. So actually,
it just says Nicole.
Yeah, my next line of notes it has Nicole.
It doesn't give her last name.
Played by Andrea Bercovici.
IMDb. It just says Nicole, but it just says David instead of Mo Rutherford. Also, though.
Yeah, it says David Rutherford instead of Mo Rutherford. So they're at the airport. They get on a private jet, and that takes them all down to Midland, Georgia. So we see the plane land with some probably stock footage. Oh no, it's not stock footage because they have the stuff car conveniently sitting waiting by for them to pick them up for the tour for the stuff factory. Nicole must have used her connections to get the tour. So they leave Jason with the plane. But before leaving, Mo tells the pilot if they aren't back in 3 hours to go to Savannah Airport and wait for further instructions. So they meet a couple of bigwigs in the limo who from the conversation are clearly in on it and potential stuffies originally from Stater are taken inside the grounds of the production facility. Back at the airport while the plane is being refueled, clearly by employees of the Stuff Corps. So that's another joke I came up with here. It's like, so what do we think the official name of the stuff is? You know, the Stuff Company, the Stuff Holdings, or whatever. I got a couple of jokes about that coming up. So it's being refueled by the Stuff employees. And one is definitely the mailman from earlier. He pops up in the window. I'm like, that's the mailman from earlier. This guy's double dipping on roles in this movie. Either that or that guy traveled fast.
I think they just probably wanted the show.
Yeah, he's in on it. So he pops up outside the cockpit.
I agree to a deal. They get so much,
And the pilot is attacked by the stuff, breaking through the window, and it attaches to his face. And just then, Jason wakes up from his nap, and we see the stuff start to ooze out of the cockpit and block Jason's exit from the craft. However, Jason is able to sneak out through the cargo hold in the back and runs off toward the woods on the other side of the airport. I don't know if I have it here in my notes, but this is it's an effect that doesn't quite work. This is one of their, I don't know if it's green screen or blue screen or whatever. It's a composite type shot. It's not the best quality. There's a lot of those in this. But I mean, it's okay. It goes with the cheesy B-movie charm of it.
Yeah.
Back with Mo and Nicole, the foreman is giving them a tour of the facility while Mo is taking pictures. And the foreman jokes that it's hard to keep the employees from eating up all the profits, given, the stuff's addictive nature. I'm surprised any of it actually makes it to store shelves with how addictive it is, and the employees probably addicted to it.
Do you think it was just how addicting what would be it being? I know they still showed it being in demand, like crazy.
Right.
But like that grocery store was stocked to the nines.
Right.
Yeah.
They're probably getting from the West Coast factories at the Chocolate Chip Charlie production line.
On the East Coast of the West
Coast. They haven't become addicted to it
Maybe
yet.
The West Coast is the East Coast to the West Coast.
Yeah, who knows?
Chicago Coast.
Nicole tells the foreman that they want to see where all the ingredients are mixed together to make the stuff, but he tells her that that's a company secret. Meanwhile, Jason has made his way to the factory and sneaks onto one of the empty tanker trucks and climbs inside it, but is trapped inside when a worker closes the hatch and locks it. The tanker then begins to head to the quarry to visit
he
David
doesn't
Arquette
just
and Ted
willingly
Raimi.
jump into the tanker thing. He's hiding.
Yeah, he's hiding, but he jumps in but gets trapped in there.
Yeah. Because if he willingly did that, what a dumb fuck.
Well, yeah, but he did what he had to do. So the tanker, it begins to head to the quarry to visit David Arquette and Ted Raimi and the rest of the cast from the quarry. So Mo and Nicole, they head to a motel for the night, provided by the Stuff Co. Oh, that's where I have. What's the name of the stuff company? And plan to return it in the morning.
You know what we have right here? We got a phone booth outside of the motel.
Yeah, we do. We got a phone booth. And when they're at the motel, they plan to return in the morning for part 2 of the tour or whatever, or just to check it out. Nicole and Mo are lying in bed. She's asleep, but Mo is still awake looking over some files with the TV on in the background when a commercial for the stuff comes on. With Abe Vigoda and a woman sitting in a restaurant, and she says the food is rotten, and she asks, "Where's the stuff?" So I'm pretty sure that's the Where's the Beef lady.
Yeah.
They got the same lady.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah, so I mean, for those who are way, way younger than us, might not be familiar with Wendy's Where's the Beef
her name is...
advertising commercial.
Clara Peller.
Yeah, so that's a play on that. So I got here. So I don't think Mo is going to have to worry about stopping the Stuff Enterprises, Inc. after they get sued into oblivion for stealing Wendy's advertisement slogan there. This is then followed up by some more epic 80s commercial goodness, complete with the Stuff theme. So later on, both of them are fast asleep, but the ominous music starts to play, and the pillow tears open, and out comes the Stuff trademark, and it latches itself onto Mo's face and tries to suffocate him.
Facehugger.
So Nicole grabs an oil lamp and pours some of the oil on his face, and then lights it on fire with a match, weakening it so Mo can fling it off. Then a Stuffy comes in and tries to attack them, but he is thrown off to the other side of the bed. Just then, the bed rips open and a giant blob of the Stuff attacks the Stuffy, dragging him up the wall and onto the ceiling. And all Rod can do is watch as Tina is carved up like a Thanksgiving turkey. Mo and Nicole watch as the trap was meant for them. So I'm pretty sure, and you might be able to figure this out, because there's like only one rotating room ever in film, and it's the rotating room from A Nightmare on Elm Street. They reuse that thing for fucking everything, and I'm pretty sure it's this.
It's exactly that.
Yeah.
It is the room where Johnny Depp gets sucked into the bed.
So, well, they use it for that shot, but it's also for the Tina shot as well, where she gets dragged. I don't know how you're not as familiar with the movie.
This just says, doesn't he get sucked into the bed, right?
He does. So it's used for two shots in that movie.
Yeah.
So the first shot
Glenn is his name in the movie.
Yes,
Johnny
his
Depp.
name's Glenn. So in the first shot, Tina, Rod's girlfriend, is being dragged up the wall, and it looks like, she's hovering in the air because she's being dragged up the wall and onto the ceiling. So that's the first shot it's used, and then it's used in the scene where the blood shoots out of the bed. So obviously the bed's just on the ceiling and turned upside down. The room's turned upside down. But yeah, for the longest time, I don't know if they've made another one yet or ever, but they just reuse that room for every rotating room shot just because it's so... I mean, you make it for one thing, you're going to get your money's worth out of it, right? You're going to let other people use it. You rent it to them.
So the actress, Andrea Markovici, Nicole, she was excited about this room, how it, it turns. And she thought it would be more something like, I guess it's an older movie that I don't know, a Fred Astaire movie where he's walking on, looks like he's walking on walls, up walls and stuff like that. But she was a bit disappointed that. And I guess there might have been, there's a lot of stuff that was no pun intended, cut from this movie. There's supposed to be a love scene there, maybe a sex scene.
Yeah, it also seems like there should have been one back earlier when they first met up and they were going back to the room. I do remember they cut that out because it kind of detracted from the film and didn't go with the flow.
I think it was a company, the film company that cut it. But he said he had more stuff, and he said some of the stuff might have added because the company. I know this is going a little bit. Was disappointed because it's it's advertised as a horror.
Yeah,
movie.
But it's clearly a horror.
But he said
comedy.
some of the stuff that they cut out of this is actually more horror rated besides the love scene.
Yeah. I think he said
he
thought
said
it still turned out good.
He says it's more dense and sophisticated.
Yeah.
It was cut to increase the pace of the film.
Yes.
There's a romantic scene. Yeah, it did take place in that motel room. And then it says last year they found the lost cuts. I guess they lost them. They found them, so maybe it'll do something else.
Probably expect
I don't know.
New special edition, huh?
Yeah. Keep an eye out for that, stuffies.
Might have to do an amendum in a hotcake, add on a review with the extended footage if they do an extended cut.
Yeah, because it's not on mine. So
yeah. Mo grabs the rest of the oil and sets fire to the stuff, and then they run out and hotwire a truck and head back to the factory to investigate what is really going on. So they start to follow the tanker trucks, including the one Jason is in, back to the quarry, where the employees of Stuff Holdings are pumping the stuff out of a pit. And the stuff in the pit is cool looking with it bubbling and rising out, kind of like the pink slime in Ghostbusters 2 with the river of slime and it bubbles out.
Yep.
Mo and Nicole ditch the truck since it's too noisy and proceed on foot to a ledge overlooking the quarry and are shocked at the sight they see. Mo says the only way to prove what is going on is to go down and steal one of those trucks because they're pumping the stuff straight out of this pit in the quarry, this giant lake of the stuff, and just putting it into the tankers. So there's no processing going on or anything. It's just straight out of the ground, just like that guy intended as he dipped his fingers in at the beginning of the movie.
You got a fist? I mean...
So he dons one of the yellow jumpsuits that the employees are wearing that he had brought with him because he planned ahead and heads down there. He also takes out his pack this pack of some C4 that he just so happens to have. This guy takes his industrial sabotage seriously.
Jeez.
So
I was just like, what?
Hey, he's a professional.
Yeah.
So he tells her to go back to the pickup and wait at the highway for him. She asks if he is going to be all right, and he says, I'll be fine. This is my business. And man, I wonder what other companies and products he sabotaged. You know what I mean? Like, was the 3 Mile Island like thing caused by Mo? Like he fucking like blew a big hole in the nuclear power plant or something?
That's how he got kicked off there.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know.
Before he goes, they kiss. I guess saving the world together is one way for people to fall in love with each other. But I am disappointed that he doesn't have his priorities straight and makes love to her instead of saving the world. He goes around and starts.
Apparently it already happened.
Apparently it already happened, but we didn't know. So he goes around and starts planting explosives around the cliff, and then heads down to check out the trucks. One guy seems to take notice and follows him behind the truck, but he takes care of him and knocks him out. So meanwhile, Jason is in danger of drowning again as they start to pump the stuff into the tanker he is in. And what is one of the worst green screen effects I've ever seen. So while the individual shots of him in the container and then pumping in the stuff are like real shots, like, you know, when they composite them together with the green screen or blue screen, when they show them in front of the stuff being pumped in, you could clearly see a white outline around the kid and surrounding most of his body, and his shoes disappear partly as he moves around. Parts of his shoe and feet get cut off from the green screen effect. Plus, there's this weird tear/spot in the upper left corner too, like this weird like black spot. I don't know if it's like a tear of the film or something. I don't know if you noticed it.
It was bad.
Like maybe if the film was exposed to something in those few instances of that scene. I don't know if you noticed that or if it's on your cut or if this was just maybe a different.
I don't know. It didn't look good on mine, so I'm assuming it might have been there and I just missed it.
Yeah, I mean, you're not really focusing on the upper left corner. So he backs further into the tanker and calls for help. And Mojo so happens to be walking by at that moment. So he knocks out some guards and hops in the tanker and drives off with it. As he drives away, he sets off the explosives, destroying the quarry and burying the stuff in the rubble. Back at the truck, Nicole goes to get inside, but the mailman is in the truck and ambushes her. Jeez, this guy sure gets around fast. First he's at the airport, now he's at the quarry. But she quickly gouges his eye with her finger and causing him to fall to the ground. Then Mo comes cruising by in the tanker truck, and he runs over the guy's leg, causing it to ooze out the stuff, and his face implodes. I do enjoy the effects of this movie. They're fun and cheesy, but you can't say they're top-notch work, but they're very fun. And as this effect shows with the guy's like just head imploding from his leg getting run over, it's kind of funny. So Mo gets out of the truck and climbs up, opens the hatch, and pulls Jason out just before the stuff can grab him. However, I can't help but feel that he may have doomed future generations of camp counselors in the progress. He may have been better off letting him get covered in creamy goo. Do you like some of that creamy goo?
Yeah, I love this stuff. Don't that's not that stuff.
Okay, I'm not playing it. As they are cruising along in the tanker, a state trooper turns on his sirens and starts pursuing them. I guess that's why you don't drive the speed limit, as Mo points out. The Stuff Proprietary Group owns the police in this area. So they pull over, and the trooper comes up and tells him that the hose from the truck is hanging out. Mo asks him if you're going to arrest him for indecent exposure. Kind of funny joke there. So things escalate quickly, though, as the officer draws his revolver and tells them to get out of the vehicle. Quick thinking, Mo points out that some the stuff is leaking out of the hose. No comment. I'm not gonna lie, when I wrote that joke in the notes, I laughed so hard.
What did he say?
I said he points out that some the stuff is leaking out from the hose.
Does he say that?
No, that's my joke.
Oh, God.
It probably would flow better if I just said pre-stuff, but I gotta say because it's the stuff. Like, it probably doesn't flow as well, and it probably ruins some of the joke as I had to explain it like 2 times here, but I laughed so hard right in that joke. Jason and Nicole, they go over and fake eating some of it. The officer gives in to his cravings and goes to town on the stuff, allowing Mo to run over and deliver some chocolate chip foo on the trooper. So back on their way, Mo makes a detour to this castle-like structure with a tower to meet someone that he knows everything about, but that doesn't know him. And so as he gets out of the truck, a man in camo military uniform comes out of the tall grass and approaches him. But there aren't wild Pokemon in this tall grass. Instead, a bunch of paramilitary soldiers yell and run out from hiding and surround him. So Mo informs the men that he is here to see Colonel Spears, who's watching the events from the tower. And I don't know if Colonel Spears is ex 3rd Armored Division, or if he just wears the patch because the patch on his shoulder is the 3rd Armored Division, or if he just wears the patch because it's the Spearhead Division, and that kind of goes with his motif, his name. I'm not sure. I'm guessing he has some real military experience. I don't know if he's still in the military. It doesn't seem like it.
Are they like a militia?
They seem like a militia.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, it says a militia. Sorry.
Yeah. I don't think he's still in the military. I think he, moved on, but still has a militia. So the colonel asks who he is. So Mo...
Is that like a cult then?
A militia?
Then not a militia?
Kind
I know
of,
there's some militia. Yeah.
It's not really a cult per se in this instance, but...
Anyway, it's good.
They're anti-commie. They're fighting the commies, as we'll find out here. So Mo explains to the colonel that he used to work for a guy named Hoover, who had him put taps on an apartment that Spears rented for a 17-year-old girl. Oh, boy. We got an Epstein here. Whoops. I don't know what the age of consent is in Georgia, though, so...
It might not have been Georgia anyways.
Yeah, you never know. So the colonel threatens to throw him over the ledge, but Mo eases his concerns, saying that he only used the tapes so he could talk to him and doesn't actually have them on him because he needs his help. And he plays to his anti-communist and patriotic sympathies, comparing the stuff to the fluoride drinking water conspiracy, pretty much saying the stuff was created by the commies is being used to control Americans. I'm like, that sounds about right. It's always the commies' fault. So thanks to Mo's persuasion, Colonel Spears decides they're going to attack the plant with his private army. And he hits on Nicole in the process when he meets her downstairs, and Mo interjects that he's putting the moves on his lady, but the colonel counters, not to worry, you'll probably be a casualty. And the colonel's played by the late Paul Sorvino, of course. They take a truck, the tanker truck that they stole, back to the plant, and they have one of the soldiers dressed in civvies and pretending that he found it and brought it back hoping for a reward. So the guard unlocks the gate for him, but when the soldier pushes the issue of the reward, the guard pulls a gun and shoots him in the face. This prompts the colonel and his men to come out from hiding. I don't know where they were hiding. I don't know if they were all attached to this truck somehow. They just kind of sneak out from the scenery and gun down the guard. So as the corpse twitches and spews the stuff trademark, the colonel remarks that he kind of likes the sight of blood, but this is disgusting. So he seems kind of like a Patton-esque character, but kind of like ramped up to 11. He's like 10 times of Patton. So the soldiers storm the plant, and an alert plays over the plant's broadcast system, telling them to follow the plan for such occurrences and not to resist. So some uplifting, heroic, patriotic-type action music kicks in during this scene. And one of my favorite lines during the assault on this compound is from the colonel looking for a fight from these yellow bellies. He yells out, "Come on, you stuffy sons of bitches!"
Oh, Paul Sorvino is great.
Yeah. So they finally storm the inside of the plant, but they find nothing initially until they round a corner and see that all the plant workers are dead, with their mouths stretched wide like the postman from earlier. And I'm curious, I'm like, well, why are these ones dead instead? And like that guy was able to get back up and be okay. Was it because they vacated all the stuff from their bodies and he still had a little bit left?
I don't know. They should explain that more.
Inquiring minds
It's a little
would like
gripe.
to know.
I'm like, why is that guy back to life?
So the colonel takes the butt of his rifle and smashes in one of the faces of the workers, and it shatters like the paper mache it's made out of, but remarks that there's no white stuff in him. And it's kind of got like this puff of pink mist, like dried blood to it. So Jason elaborates that the stuff inside of them must have left. So Nicole takes Jason away from the carnage, but then we cut to an ominous shot of a load of the stuff oozing down some stairs. So as Nicole and Jason try to exit the plant, they're cornered by this giant blob of the stuff, hopping from one steel cart to another steel cart for safety as it surrounds them. And by surrounds, I mean because it's like almost another composite shot. Or like as I put here, or more accurately, as it surrounds the green screen or blue screen or whatever screen it is. They finally make it to the exit just as the stuff comes flowing out behind them. So suddenly, the stuff starts bursting out of the walls, engulfing two soldiers as they scream. But again, these two soldiers are green or blue screen because of their camo into this set. But even worse, it's clearly a miniature set, so they got the full-size guys green screen onto a miniature. I mean, they're scaled properly, but it's jarring.
Yeah.
And I do love me some good miniature effects, and the miniatures are decent looking and decently built. But this scene is just jarring because of the soldiers placed into the scene. And in the next shot, you get the stuff bursting out of the plant, which is also a miniature. But it's too easily given away by the details of the grass and the shrubbery around the plant. Because, it's got kind of like that fake matte grass and like little, model shrubs put around.
Yeah.
Appropriate for like miniatures, and stuff, but not quite as good looking for something like this. And then something in the bottom left corner doesn't look like it belongs either. It might be part of the table that they were filming the miniature on, or it could just be like another miniature of a vehicle or car that's just quite not in frame. I can't tell what it is, though.
It's probably in the goofs on IMDb, but I'm not going to.
Anyways, though, it looks like the stuff has blown its load as it just lies there inert after this. So it can't live long without a host. Sometimes, though, sometimes it can live without a host, like when it's bubbling out of the ground. It's all really confusing. So Colonel Soprano says he owns 2 radio stations down in Atlanta. So the plan is to fly down there and broadcast a warning to the public about the stuff. As they disembark from their planes, we get some more patriotic military music as the soldiers start shouting and running toward taxis by the runway. Cab driver Fat Albert asks if this is World War III, but Servino just tells him to get them to the radio station and stow the liberal remarks. For some reason, that cab driver sounds like Fat Albert. I don't know why. So we get these shots of the taxis driving to the radio station. I'm like, geez, and people say Friday the 13th had padding issues. We really need to see like all these shots of them driving. Them getting in the taxis and showing up would have been good enough. Like the like the jump cut they did earlier where they just jumped from the boat ride to the diner.
To Nicole or whatever in the
What's that?
The scene. Wasn't he saying stuff to Nicole in the scene?
Yeah, he was. I didn't write
like
it
hitting
down.
on her or whatever.
Yeah, I think he's hitting on her again. So as they dismount from the taxis, all the onlookers run away screaming, seeing all these military guys running around with guns. So the Curly rallies his yelling men and motions them for silence with his hand. And with it, he issues orders to pay the drivers and to tip them 10% and get a cash receipt. Hey, this guy doesn't want his paramilitary organization's accounting department to get screwed up and audited. He wants it all in order. So inside, the station manager, i.e. the worst extra line delivery read ever, reports that the IR affiliates have all agreed to carry the colonel's remarks, and he tells them to buy clearance on as many radio stations as he can. Good old money can buy anything. So when they turn on the station to see what's playing on it now, we get that sweet 80s The Stuff jingle again, causing the colonel to yell at him to get this shit off my station. Hey, remember when Chocolate Chip Charlie was in this movie? No, because it was so long ago. He's barely in it. Well, he finally comes rushing back into the radio like, 15, 20 minutes before the end of the movie and demands to be let in. And he threatens the soldier, saying that his hands are registered with the Midland, Georgia Police as lethal weapons. And he'll eat those guns of the soldiers for breakfast. Man, this movie really could use more of this guy. So as Nicole and Mo are going over the prepared remarks, Charlie comes in and they greet him. And Mo asks where he has been. And that's what I just said, Mo. Try to keep up. He also adds that he never heard from the FBI and what happened to him. So Charlie asks him if he has time for a long, drawn-out story, and Mo says no, he doesn't have time to watch Chud.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
boy.
Check out our Chud episode for that one. But Charlie wants to be part of the program because of his factory being stolen from him, so they decide to incorporate him into the broadcast. But Colonel Spears, he's got a little bit of a racist streak here, and he doesn't want to hear any of it. But they convince him with the potential ad revenue from the draw of such a big name Chocolate Chip Factory and his loyal fan base tuning in. Like I said, the money's always right. So Nicole takes Charlie into another room so he can organize his thoughts and for Nicole to get the plot outlined. I'm like, what? Is Larry Cohen striking on his script writing duties and making her pick up the slack for him? So she asks him if he is willing to testify on air about the stuff devouring people. And he agrees, adding that he's seen what's left of them when the stuff comes back out, and that it sort of vacates the body when it's through. And she asks how, but apologizes, figuring how would he know? So he counters, oh, I know. And then he grabs her and starts convulsing, and this is one of the greatest scenes in the movie, too. And they show it in the trailer, and it just starts convulsing like having a seizure. And we get the greatest scene in the movie. So good they put in the trailer, like I said. So he starts to open his mouth wide, and it's like, oh, as, he's just like shaking, and his mouth just starts opening wider. And his mouth, it's like all porous and dried out inside. And finally, with the top of his head practically peeled back, the stuff just starts to rise out. And again, I can't say this is a good effect, because it does look kind of cheap, but it's very, very fun, and it's very cheesy, but a lot of fun. So just as Jason comes in, Charlie's face explodes and his body disappears, and a blob of the stuff corners Jason and Nicole in the small audio equipment room, because on the floor it's just like a pile of his face and the rest of his body's gone.
Yeah, I don't.
In the other room, Mo breaks a glass and shoots an electrical cable. And it's just like this fucking huge, like giant industrial electrical cable. I don't know if they really would have something like that in a radio station, but it's ginormous. So
It's a possibility back then. I don't know.
yeah. And so he uses it to electrocute the stuff, setting it on fire as they green screen their way through the broken glass window to the other room. As they say, the show must go on, and they can't risk delay or else they'll lose their clearances on all the other stations. So Colonel Malcolm Wallace and Grummet Spears gives his radio address telling people that they are under attack from the stuff and to not eat it or sell it or distribute it and to get their family members addicted to the stuff to the hospital. And Mo chimes in, if you have any, to cook it. I'm like, wait a minute. So you're telling me you could have just cooked it? That was an option? Does it still taste good after cooking? And, I mean, doesn't have any harmful effects after you cook it? I mean, let's not throw the stuff out with the bathwater. Am I right?
I don't know.
I mean, I feel like that need elaborate on. That's a weird choice of words. I feel like it's like...
I think you meant to say, burn the fuck out.
Yeah,
of
if you
it.
have any of it, burn it, light on fire. Surprisingly, though, people actually listened, and we get a shot of one of the stuffed billboards set ablaze, quickly followed by Nicole giving us some documentary-style exposition interspliced with scenes of the stuff being burned and destroyed in mass. Again, with, empty stuff containers being thrown into a pile because, like I said, they weren't going to fill them all up with the stuff. Along with one of those, the stuff Dairy Queen-style franchises being blown up. Although I think the wind spread the fire to a neighboring McDonald's, although the KFC next door must be ecstatic about this. See, I bet you didn't know Colonel Spears was also Colonel Sanders, did you? Because they blew up this building and the fire clearly drifting over to this McDonald's. I'm like, there's no way that fucking building didn't get some fire damage from this scene. That better be like a fucking miniature McDonald's because Larry Cohen's paying for some property damage there.
Yeah, for sure.
Then we get to blow up that awesome plant manager from earlier, too. So meanwhile, a shady business guy from earlier who tried to buy Mo off is watching the broadcast on his TV of Nicole, apologizing to the public as Mo walks in. So he reveals to Mo that he hasn't shut them down and that the stuff will seep up from anywhere and they have other places to get it. But Mo says, oh, we'll find those other places, too. But shady business guy, whose name I don't remember at this point, reveals that he has teamed up with a shady bearded ice cream business guy from the beginning of the movie, whose name I also don't remember by now. They're releasing a new product called The Taste, which only contains 12% of the stuff, just enough to make it addictive like all the other products that are on the shelves nowadays. Also, The Taste, whoever is their new advertising director needs to be fired. That's the kind of stupid idea I expect from Arby's for the name.
I think it's Fletcher and
fucking Arby's.
Evans.
The one sponsor we won't sell out to. Arby's.
I think it's
You know what you did.
Fletcher and Evans or something.
Yeah, I remember saying one of the guys' names earlier, but that was a joke as in, that was so long ago in the notes.
Of course, in here it says Vickers, but he died by his dog. I don't get that.
Yeah, it's who knows. Unless they double cast him, like the mailman. So the rest of it is cut from dairy products, so it can't get a hold of anyone's mind. Don't worry, they tested in a small Illinois town. Oh my God. Was Michael Myers, did they test it in Haddonfield? Was Michael Myers just trying to kill all the tasties? So is Michael Myers actually a hero? Also, is Halloween now in the stuff and the Friday the 13th and the Intruder universes? I think they're all definitely connected in our International House of Horror podcast universe. But Mo tells them he's not alone either, and Jason comes in carrying a box, and he informs them that Jason lost his family to the stuff. It wasn't his real family anyways. His mother was killed by Alice back in the summer of 80. So then Mo reveals his other friend, Mr. Luger, and he forces them at gunpoint to sit down, and Jason brings over a case of the stuff and puts it in front of them and forces them to eat it at gunpoint, even pulling a Loomis and firing a couple of warning shots when they hesitate initially. So they start to eat the stuff. And then they just can't get enough. And Mo utters the other tagline, are you eating it or is it eating you? And we zoom out to reveal the whole room as police sirens approach and Mo and Jason leave the men to their fate as they just keep chowing down on the stuff. Also, with that giant taxidermy, I think it's a polar bear too, bear in the corner. Is this Mr. Burns' office from The Simpsons?
So it's noted in the trivia that a lot of people would think it's Mr. Burns.
Mr. Burns' office.
It looks odd.
Yeah, because it's got that same. It's even in the right corner too. Grant, I don't think the windows line up because the windows are behind his desk and the bear is in the corner by the windows. But neither here nor there. We then crossfade to some guys waiting around on the street as truck pulls up, and the driver gets out and he unloads a box and opens it up for the other guys, revealing containers of the stuff. The guy tastes it to make sure it's real, and thus the illegal the stuff black market was born. Definitely some drug deal references going on here. And then we roll credits as some more of that upbeat action music plays again. And then Tubi tries to recommend for me to watch Chud again next, and I said, no thank you, I definitely can get enough of the Chuds.
Well, you missed the post-credit scene.
Oh no, that's coming up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's coming up.
I didn't know.
We got some references here, man.
I'm sorry.
So,
go ahead.
Now, first off, before we dive into some of the credit stuff, I would like to point out, I feel like the ending to this was a bit anticlimactic. Like, the climax wasn't that good. Like, okay, they stormed the factory and everything, and that's kind of action-packed, but there's, like, no big conflict with the stuff. There's, like, a bit of tension with the stuff going after Nicole and Jason, but then it just, like, explodes out, which is kind of cool, but it's still kind of anticlimactic. It's mainly just a bunch of soldiers running around.
Yeah.
And then there's a little bit of tension with the radio station scene, but then it just kind of, like, peters out. I mean, the ending's okay. I don't mind it. It works for the story, but I just feel like it's a bit anticlimactic leading up, especially in this cheesy B movie.
Sorry. Yeah.
But anyway, so into some of the credit stuff. So I saw in the credits, so Ed French did some of the mechanical makeup effects. And last time we saw him, he was going to hook up with that MILF from Blood Rage before he lost his head. Also, Steve Neal, Rick Stratton, and Mike Matty chipped in on the same credit that Ed French did. I'm assuming it's the same Ed French. I don't know how many Ed Frenches are in the industry doing effects for movies. Mm-hmm. And the stuff jingles were written, composed, and produced by Richard Seaman. Honestly, folks, the jokes write themselves at this point. I mean, the guy's name is Dick Seaman. What more do you want? But hey, Scary Perry, what did you think of Dick Seaman's The Stuff theme?
Go ahead, hit it. I do like Dick.
I had to get my one in for the episode. But I know I'm sure you like the theme, of course. It was a fun little jingle. I love 80s jingles and stuff like that. Good, yeah. So, and then, as you were alluding to, at the end of the credits, we get some random lady standing in the shower holding a container of this stuff as she says, enough is never enough. Okay, I'm not sure what this was for. I was kind of half expecting a Killbot to show up and say, have a nice day.
The actress is Brooke Adams.
She's in
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
The remake or the original?
The original.
The original, okay.
She's Elizabeth Driscoll. She's second building.
Yeah, I got a lot of Invasion of the Body Snatchers references for stuff in the future.
She was also in the Dead Zone.
Yeah, I don't know why they included her at the end there as like an ending thing. Like I don't know if that was maybe just like an unused commercial shot
at the time. I don't know what the hell she was in. I don't know.
You know, she was in Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
I mean, I guess
she had to have been pretty old by that time. Well, Body Snatchers was the original, was the
70s or something like that.
No, the 70s is the remake.
No. It's the remake.
Yeah.
Oh, she's in the remake. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. So she's the.
That was my bad.
She's second build in the remake from the 70s.
Yeah.
Late 70s. Really?
1978. Yeah.
I thought Karen Allen would have been second
nominated
build.
for a Saturn Award for
or Leonard Nimoy.
She's married to Tony Shalhoub.
Tony Shalhoub.
Yeah, monk himself.
Good for them.
I don't know when she was born. It doesn't say here, so no idea.
Anyway, so that was the stuff.
The stuff. I love.
Can we not just get enough?
I'm gonna eat some
not?
Right now. I'm gonna eat some now.
All right.
I gotta go to the gas station.
Finish that off beforehand. So, do you have anything else to chip in before we take our last bite of the stuff?
I do. I do have some fun facts. A lot of the scenes in the movie where they actually show the stuff in the container, a lot of it is Haagen-Dazs ice cream.
Okay.
And a lot of it is yogurt.
Okay.
Now, when they do the scenes like where it's coming down stairs or whatever and moving, they use fire extinguisher foam. And the thing about fire extinguisher foam is it's made out of fish bone. And when they did it, I think it might have been the factory scene and maybe that one at the quarry. Mm-hmm. It stinks, like, fish. And so a lot of the actors and extras and everything, actresses, they went and jumped in the Hudson River after they cut the scene because it smelled so bad.
Yeah, that's why I heard that it didn't smell very good.
Yeah. Originally, Larry Cohen, he wanted Arsenio Hall to play Chocolate Chip Hart.
I do remember
Chocolate
Chip.
Chocolate Chip What is? I'm
Chocolate Chip Charlie.
Charlie. I put CCH.
Yeah, man. It's C. You got the triple C's there.
Yeah, I put CCH.
Oh, you got
That's
the alliteration.
why I put CCH.
You got the alliteration.
I don't know why I put CCH.
Chocolate Chip Hal.
Chocolate Chip Hal.
Did Mo maneuver in afterwards and take hostile takeover and give it to his son?
Yeah, he did. Anyways, the person who played him, Garrett Morris, is an original SNL cast member, so I think he did a great job.
Yeah, I know he is. I'm not too familiar with him, but I knew upon reading about it that he was a big deal.
Okay, let's see.
And that's why they got him, because he was the studio wanted him, was because he was kind of a bigger name for a draw for the film.
All right, I was also mentioning, so those guys are the Blooms, the brothers. The older brother, his name is Brian Bloom. He went on to co-write Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Oh, wow.
Warfare. And he does a lot of stuff in video games. And Call of Duty Modern Warfare is the best-selling franchise of any of the Call of Duties.
Was that the one with the where you're infiltrating the terrorists at the beginning and you go through the airport?
Maybe.
Do you remember that controversial scene?
I don't know.
Yeah, are you familiar with that? And one of the it might have been Modern Warfare 2, actually. I can't remember. But so you're an undercover like CIA agent, but you're part of this terrorist group that you joined or whatever that you're infiltrating. It simulates a terrorist attack on the airport, but you're part of the terrorist attack, so you have to gun down innocent civilians. It caused big uproar at the time. I forget which Call of Duty it was.
And also in the movie, the Zodiac used the voice of the Zodiac Killer.
Oh, there you go.
He's been in a lot of stuff. Just a lot of animation.
What about his brother Scott Bloom?
I don't think there's a third brother. But
hold on. Who's the? I think that's Bloom.
Scott
B-L-U-M.
Bloom was the younger.
I'm thinking of
Brian's the older.
Who's the voice actor? I think that's Bloom or Blum with a B-L-U-M.
He was in
or M-E.
They were in Smoking Aces Together Again. The younger brother was in John Q. He wasn't in a lot of stuff though. Yeah,
I think I'm thinking of Steve Bloom, the voice actor.
Well, there's another
which
brother.
Is like I said, spelled B-L-U-M.
Mike Bloom, but he's looks like he's some kind of musician for some band. I don't know, a couple of different bands. So besides that, I had one more. Oh yeah, I did. Okay, Larry Cohen. He was disappointed on the day the movie opened because a hurricane, the remnants of it hit New York. So the papers for that day, which actually had good reviews of the movie, were never delivered.
Yeah, I did remember hearing this story.
And they had, good reviews. So he said that kind of hurt the movie a bit. Let me give you some final facts. It cost $1.7 million to make. I don't know how much it earned. I couldn't find that. Let me see.
Was it on the old Wikipedia?
No, it wasn't. And I looked at other sites. IMDb score of 5.9 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 71%. The audience score is a 45%.
I'm surprised it got that high, especially from critics.
Yeah.
But I looked at the first review,
and it was like Ebert, and he gave it like 1.5 stars.
Well, yeah, I can imagine that.
I looked in my other ones. My Video Hound book gave it 1.5 bones, and Leonard Maltin, excuse me.
That hack Leonard.
He
Maltin.
gave it 2.5, so he gave it a little bit better.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's other people.
But I'm surprised
because what they say here on Wikipedia is that magazine that I've seen around. I have White Dwarf magazine.
Oh, isn't that like the one of the official Warhammer magazines or something? Or it's like a miniature magazine.
They're talking about how they reviewed it in issue 77.
That's kind of weird.
It said it was really good. I'm like,
well, maybe because of the miniature.
I'm just thinking they put like like people you would know.
Maybe because of the miniature effects in it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure you can go to Rotten Tomatoes though and read the reviews of like the. Actually, I wasn't even on the Rotten Tomatoes site, but you could read it. Anywho. So that's where that. So go ahead and.
All right. So now it's time for us to take the last bite. So The Stuff is a fun little throwback to the silly B movies of the 50s. As an entertaining premise with some decent satire, commercialism, marketing campaigns, and profiteering without concern for consumer safety. And I don't think the satire is as effective compared to other 80s satires like RoboCop. It is still pretty effective and gets the job done without being too heavy-handed. The actors give some fun performances. I especially love Michael Moriarty as the acts stupid but actually whip-smart, sly con man Mo Rutherford, who whenever I see him act, I always want Mo. And Chocolate Chip Charlie's over-the-top acting, starring Sylvester Stallone, although I really do want more of him in this movie, and it's a shame we didn't get it. And while the film moves around at a decent pace, and there isn't too much filler, there are definitely some things holding it back. The audio is definitely questionable in some parts. as I pointed out with that one scene. I think a lot of that movie is dubbed that way too. And as a fan of Italian films, I am definitely fine with some terrible dubbing and can be kind of fun, but it is somewhat distracting here for an American film. It doesn't add any fun to the film. It's not like in some scenes where the dubbing is so questionable that it's fun and it's kind of funny. And this, it's just detracts from the film, and you'd expect better. Granted, I don't hold the audio against it too much, but the effects is another story. While I do enjoy a lot of the cheesy, low-budget effects of the stuff itself and the fun papier-mâché body explosions and faces imploding, the green screen effects, or balloon screen effects, or whatever they are for the composite shots, are very poorly executed. Granted, these things were definitely difficult to do at the time, and the conversion to HD has probably only made the flaws in these early effects more noticeable. Still, I don't find entertainment from these in a so bad it's good way like other bad effects in other movies, as there is some legitimate entertainment to be had here in this fun little horror comedy. Overall, though, while the stuff isn't going to be heralded as an all-time great horror comedy, and there are some things holding it back, as I said, it's still a very solid and entertaining B-movie that I highly recommend for an evening of some laughs at the enjoyable characters, silly moments, and cheesy but enjoyable practical effects. So my overall rating for the stuff is 3 pancakes. But just don't put any of this stuff on top of those pancakes.
I just can't get enough of this stuff. Oh, all right. I got one more fact before I go.
Sure. And then we'll head to your last bite.
Yes. I forgot to mention that Mira Sorvino, the daughter of Paul Sorvino, was in this movie. This is her first role, but she's uncredited. She was a factory worker in the movie.
I think I did remember seeing that.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
But anyways, on to my final
Go ahead with the last bite. My
final bite of the stuff forever? No. Okay.
Yep.
So I thought the acting by Michael Moratti was great. It was so good. And I have not seen this guy in other stuff, and I really want to. And yeah.
Do you know why I call him Michael Moratti Mo? Because every time I see him act, I want Mo.
I want more. I want Mo. I want Mo. Yeah, he was great in it. I like Garrett Wilson as Chocolate Morris. Excuse me, Garrett Morris as Chocolate Chip Charlie. He was great.
Yep.
I think that was probably the better call over Arsenio Hall. No offense to Arsenio Hall.
Yeah,
he's had some fun stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as sound effects, yeah, obviously that dubbing scene on the boat was weird, but I thought it was gonna be the whole thing, and I'm like, did this happen when I watched this the first time? And I'm like. Is this DVD
it's
faulty?
It's kind of like when we watched Chud
faulty?
The first time. We own it through rose-colored glasses now.
Yeah, and then it got better, so it was all right. And I like the Jingle by Seaman, and
Richard Seaman.
Yeah, and Anthony Geffen did a good score to it. Yeah, I think with the green screen / blue screen, whatever, those things they look really bad like nowadays, and. But I can get past it.
Yeah, I appreciate the practicalness of that. It's just not done well.
I'm glad it wasn't like for like every single thing in the movie. It was like a few times because like obviously the Chocolate Chip Charlie exploding head thing was all. I thought it was it looks cheesy, but I thought
it's
awesome.
Fun. It's that's what you're here for.
I'm trying to lose a train of thought here. My night train of thought, terror train of thought. Excuse me.
Night train of terror.
Yeah, I thought it was a good movie. I thought the pacing was good. They didn't like show unnecessary things. I didn't feel like it was missing something. I know it seemed a little jumping around, but it was expedited. But it didn't seem like a rush film because it does have a good runtime. The ending wasn't something like a sleepaway camp or something else to knock you off your socks. But
yeah,
it wasn't
good.
Like I think it's kind of good how they got the guy back by hey eat this stuff.
Yeah,
or not well actually literally eat the stuff.
Yes,
but,
yeah, they turned their own product against them.
I think the where he's going at the time, I'm sure those people recognize all those cameos with those people. Where's the Beef Lady, Ava Vigoda?
Right.
I'm sure those add to it. So, I mean, they did what they could out of a B movie. It was kind of, for me, it's kind of funny, though, like when I was watching, like, so they go to the factory, and then they go to the motel and get attacked, and then they go back to the factory, whatever, the next day. It kind of reminded me of Halloween 3 Season of the Witch a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, wow, it's kind of weird.
Which one? This came out before?
1985. I don't know when Halloween 3. I have to Google machine.
Halloween 3 might have been earlier because Halloween 2 was 80.
Yeah, I think it's a fun little movie. It's definitely a cult classic. I'm sure there's some real hardcore stuffies out there, but overall, none of this is going to scare anybody. I don't even know if this would scare.
No, it's a horror
toddler.
comedy.
And
it's more definitely on the comedy side of the bar.
But it's still a horror movie, and not everything can be slasher and that and this and that. But
right.
I think it's good. I think it's something, like you said, it's very enjoyable to have a good laugh or something, watch. I can watch this movie, definitely once, twice a year. I think it's really good.
Yeah.
Obviously I own it, so I like it. Yeah. With that being said, overall, I really enjoyed this movie. I like a lot of the acting. They cast great people. The score was well done, and the story compelled me. So I'm gonna give this movie a 3.5 cannolis out of 5. Definitely recommend it. Definitely check it out on Tubi for free or wherever if you can watch it. I'm sure maybe library websites that let you stream movies, anything like that. Just don't black market the stuff. And you know what? I can't get enough of this stuff.
I can tell.
It's funny though. I try to actually get.
Oh,
it's funny. The pints are labeled wrong in the movie of the stuff. They say it has a certain amount of It's in the trivia. They mislabeled what actually is in a pint. But
the actual fluid ounces or whatever.
But I was watching this little mini documentary. I think it's called "Can't Get Enough of This Stuff." It's like an hour-long one on the DVD. And Cohen, he has passed away since. Rest in peace. He was saying how that I forget what company said made it for him, or some guy they designed it, but they had thousands of these, and he said I have them in my house. He's like, what we usually do is we bring them to, maybe they'll have special screenings or they're at a convention.
Yeah.
They'll bring them out then and give them out and stuff. So, and I think it's cool. I think the labeling is cool on that. So yeah, that's it. 3.5. Definitely recommend this movie.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
Fun.
It's definitely a throwback to like I said, the cheesy sci-fi and horror movies of the 50s, which those are trying to be serious but are kind of funny because of how cheesy they are. This is more straight up trying to be cheesy and funny to begin with. Not so much spoofing those films, but imitating those, but with the intention of being funny rather than scary. So, and that brings me back to my theory with this kid being Jason.
Yeah.
So you'd be like, well, Jason, he's mentally handicapped and he has this disfigured face from the get-go. Well, see, his face didn't become that way until after. See, when he was eating that Barbasol shaving cream, there's probably still some residual stuff left on the side that he didn't quite scrape all the way out. So a little bit of the stuff got into him and disfigured him a little bit. You got
to think, though, he was in that vat for hours.
And then it probably...
Or the tanker for hours.
Yeah, and then it probably rapidly aged him afterwards as a side effect.
It had stuff in it before. He's probably breathing in some of this stuff.
Yeah, and then side effect, it rapidly aged him back to
I think you're onto something here. Right?
And then he just hopped in that DeLorean that Mo had lying around after, he got back into the FBI and got the join in on the shakedown.
I think
took that DeLorean from Doc and Biff and his his buddy knew Biff.
I think you're onto something here. You found something.
Sent him back in time, so now he's at full proper age instead of still being a kid that he's stuck in when he died. But he didn't die because he got adopted and just moved away, and his mom didn't know.
Yeah, some of his kills in the later movies, it definitely looks like the aggression in the supermarket.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Anyways, that was the stuff. Hope you enjoyed our review of it. Plug everything real quick. So you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/themadpancaker. Help make our low-budget podcast less low budget. And you can leave us a voicemail at anchor.fm/themadpancaker or at themadpancaker.com. Either one works. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as at the Mad Pancaker or just the Mad Pancaker. You can find Scary Perry at Perry Scary on Facebook, if I remember correctly.
That's correct. Yep.
Now, speaking of voicemails, I think somebody was supposed to call in and leave a voicemail, but I guess they forgot, and I think they sent me just a brief little text here. Let me see what it is. So, it's from our good old buddy J-Bones.
Oh, he's not cooking?
No, so J-Bones says here, hey, the Mad Pancaker and Scary Perry, when are you lazy bums going to pay your tabs? hurry up and get on so that way somebody else can sit at this table. I don't know what he's thinking. I don't see anybody else rushing in here.
I haven't gotten
they need to clear
anything
the table
to pay for.
Right, exactly. So,
I had this rust-colored water here.
and then he says, P.S. Scary Perry, that container of the stuff that you got, I switched it out with some marshmallow fluff mixed with horse semen.
Oh.
Enjoy. Signed, J-Bones.
I do like some good horse semen.
Oh, my God. Oh.
Stud farming at its finest.
That's right. J-Bones is a busy guy. He could only text and couldn't get the voicemail in. Hopefully we'll have some more. We'll have some actual voicemails from J-Bones calling in. And
I don't want them to call. I want them to make our pancakes. I don't know what the hell's going on.
But feel free to leave us a voicemail. We'll try and include them in the episode. Maybe during hotcakes, like I said.
Yeah.
So
sure. Please get at us. MattPancaker.com.
Right. So next.
Or the Matt Pancake.
So, and one brief little
like
thing.
the stuff.
Yes. One brief thing before we sign off here. Well, this episode's going to come out in August. I think we might have one more episode in August as well. Maybe two. I'm not sure if we're going to squeeze in another one. But for our next episode, we have a thing going on that I like to call Awful August. So we are going to, as you can see, we've been mostly reviewing movies we kind of sort of like or enjoy or have a good reputation about them. So now we're intentionally trying to dredge up some of the scum of the earth, infamously bad, but could be so bad they're good movies too. So, I didn't want to limit it to just, oh God, this is straight bad, but stuff that's so bad it's good. So we had a poll up on my Facebook page that you could have participated in, or if you're a patron, you could have voted there as well. And patron votes count for double, and the patron vote did decide the shout out to our patron, AG Sabino. So
Rex
I hope,
Carslot.
please, like I said, feel free to support us if you can on Patreon, and we'll definitely shout you out here, and you can participate in these votes. And in the future, we'll probably have some exclusive votes too. Plus, there's all sorts of other rewards so far. I haven't added too much, but you can, depending on your tier, you can help write a spoiler intro for the podcast, or you could pick a movie to be the topic of a future episode.
Ah, nice.
In the poll, there was 4 movies you could have voted for. So we'll run down the 3 losers, and then I'll hint at the winner in our sign-off. So I'm very disappointed we don't get to talk about Things. And fun fact, there is actually 2 different movies called Things. I don't know how bad the other one is, but the one is a notorious, just straight god-awfully terrible movie. Like, I don't even think it's so bad it's good. It's just bad. I mean, you might get a chuckle at how bad it is, but it's a slog to get through from what I've heard.
Oh boy.
I know it stars a former adult actress. I forget who. I put it in the comment for the poll app topic on Facebook when I did it. So that one, surprisingly, I even tried to skew the poll because you can kind of skew Facebook polls by putting, so essentially to vote, you just react to the comment with the proper emoji. And to skew a poll, you just put the first option you want with the thumb, because, the thumb's the easiest one. You just hit the button, it's the thumb. I tried to rig it so we could talk about things.
Oh, okay.
And
see how it is.
Things got no votes. I'm like, how?
Nobody cares about Things.
No, apparently not. Shame. I'm not sure if I was ready to struggle through that movie anyways, because I've heard it's bad. The other option you could have voted for was Slime City, this notoriously cheesy, low-budget movie from the 80s. I don't know how notorious it is, but I've definitely seen it. It actually got a sequel in 2016 from the original creator and some of the actors called Slime City Massacre. I haven't seen that one. I remember watching this movie first on Amazon Prime, and then I saw they added the sequel. I'm like, oh, I'll get around to watching this, and then they took it off Prime shortly afterwards. So it was one of those I could never get around to. I don't know if the sequel's on Tubi, but the original is on Tubi. Mm-hmm. So it was fun. It's definitely a fun little B movie, and it's definitely one of those slime movies with slime going everywhere and coming out of people and shit. It's an interesting low budget time with some definitely similar effects to this movie. Very cheesy looking, but fun. So that one would have been probably a so bad it's good movie with a notorious cult following. So the next one would have been a Mountaintop Motel Massacre, a movie I think I've referenced before, which is one movie that the first time I ever tried watching it, and the only time I ever tried watching it, I gave up halfway through. I'm like, no. And I never went back to finish the other half. It wasn't one of those I'm tired, let me stop. I think I'm like, I'm going to stop watching this and maybe I'll come back and watch it. It was just a slog. It was slow and uneventful. And then that leaves our fourth one, which is our winner, which we'll be talking about next episode for Awful August. So join us next time where we talk about the most notorious Gremlins knockoff ever made. Until next time, check please.
Delores!
The International House of Horror.